Chapter 1596. 1596 could not survive without going crazy. My heart is with you now. Don't have any thoughts. Even if I die this time, you won't be able to take over my heart. Moreover, even if I die this time, it won't be long before I come back to life. Your heart is in my hands. I will give it to one of my subordinates. My subordinate will tell you what you will do after I die. This time, you must bring Jian back no matter what. After this is over, I will set you free. Wang Xian reminded the hunchbacked old man. This was also a warning to him. Come back from the dead. The hunchbacked old man was slightly shocked when he heard Wang Xian's words. To come back from the dead, and come back from the dead with a drop of blood, was an ability that only gods could achieve. He could do it. However, when he thought of the strange heart of light and darkness, he pursed his lips. You won't use this heart to possess me, right? The old man asked with some worry in his heart. Now he was really afraid of the strange Wang Xian. From the bottom of his heart he was afraid. Wang Xian was a little speechless when he heard his words. With a dark face he asked, With your appearance, would I possess you? That's good, that's good. The hunchbacked old man smiled. He was now a fish and had no strength to resist. No matter what happened, he could only accept it. Furthermore, he knew a little about Wang Xian. It seemed that he was much kinder than he was in the past. You should get used to your own strength. 7 days later, we will make a big fuss and see who is the ruler of this world. A devilish smile appeared on Wang Xian's face. Good, good, good. Don't worry, Boss Missouri. I will let them know that I, Mo Shah, have returned. The stooped old man's original name was Mo Shah. He looked at Wang Xian with an arrogant expression. His eyes were filled with wildness. He was like a demon that had just come out of its cage. Wang Xian smiled and waved at him. Mo Shah walked out obediently. My only sect hopes that Jian will not be harmed in any way. Wang Xian sat at the side and muttered to himself. This time, Wang Xian had already made his final plan. The worst outcome would be death. However, if he really died, my only sect would not have an easy time either. After his death, the heart of light and darkness and the light and darkness dragon pearl were placed in Mo Shah. With Mo Shah's talent and current strength, if he didn't want to die, it would be very difficult for him to die in the vast area. He had to sacrifice himself to save Ling Jian. Then he would use the energy he obtained from the Bingxin Empire to resurrect her. Only my sect. I hope it doesn't come to this. Otherwise, I will let your sect's millions of people die without a burial ground. Wang Xian slowly closed his eyes. With the removal of the heart of light and darkness, he was no longer able to use the powers of darkness and light. However, the 5 elements were not affected by light and darkness. He could use them without restraint. Having mastered the 5 elements perfectly, he was more powerful in battle than light and darkness. He sat there quietly and familiarized himself with the 5 elements and the 10,000 origin spirit at the location of the heart. Time slowly passed by. However, at this moment, the announcement made by Lone Faction caused a huge uproar in the entire vast region. I really didn't expect Lone Faction to be so calm. They didn't send anyone to kill the Sky Demon directly, nor did they say anything harsh. Instead, they're holding a wedding banquet 7 days later. This is Lone Faction's contempt for the Sky Demon. They don't put the Sky Demon in their eyes at all. But I keep feeling that this is the calm before the storm. The absolute calm before the storm. Lone Sect directly announced that Bing Jian and young Master Ao Tian are going to hold a wedding. This is humiliating Sky Demon. Not only that, after this wedding, Lone Sect should make a move. The more this is the case, the more I feel that Lone Sect is terrifying. For this wedding, Lone Sect has invited all the second-rate and first-rate forces in the world. Something big will definitely happen. In the past few days, Everyone was talking about the solipsistic sect and the sky demon. Everyone was also guessing what the solipsistic sect would do next. 7 days was not a long time. On the 4th day, all the first-rate and second-rate forces that came from a vast area of over 1,000,000 kilometers rushed towards the solipsistic sect. It would take at least a day and a half to fly from the ruins of the divine kingdom to the solipsistic sect. On the 5th day, Wang Xian walked out of the manor. There was no one beside him. He wore a crown on his head and walked straight in the direction of the lone sect. On the crown, there were 5 elemental dragon beads inlaid. At this moment, Wang Xian's appearance was exactly the same as when he was in the flowing sea region. There was no light or darkness. Oh my God, that's the sky demon. It's him. He actually walked out in such a grand manner. Is he going there? The direction he's heading to is the only sect. Oh my God, why is he going there alone? Is he sending himself to his death? When everyone in the ruins of the divine kingdom saw Wang Xian swaggering out, they were shocked. At this moment, he still dared to swagger out. Furthermore, looking at the direction he was heading towards, it was the lone sect. What was he trying to do? Go to the lone sect? Was he seeking his own death? Everyone's eyes flickered with extreme shock. Very soon, the news of the sky demon flying alone towards the lone sect spread throughout the entire ruins of the divine kingdom. Those forces that had been paying attention to the news of the sky demon revealed astonished expressions on their faces. What was he trying to do? To barge into the lone tyrant sect. Wang Xian flew into the sky and smiled faintly as he felt the gazes from everyone. Mo Sha did not follow beside him. Instead, he headed towards the lone tyrant sect in advance. He rushed to the lone tyrant sect in advance to observe the terrain and make all the necessary preparations. There were only 2 experts at level 9 of the see-through realm in the entire sect. One of them was the supreme leader of the sect. The other one was the one who had not appeared for a long time. As he strolled in the void, he flew towards the sect unhurriedly. On the way, when someone saw Wang Xian, they looked as if they had seen a ghost and fled in fear. Wang Xian ignored them and flew alone. On the morning of the 7th day, all the major forces in the vast region rushed over from the 10810,000 meter tall Mount Solitaire. In front of Ingtian Peak, festive lanterns were hung high up and there were all kinds of flowers. It made the entire mountain peak extremely beautiful. In the cave at the corner of the mountain peak, festive red filled the room. Ling Jian, who was dressed in festive attire, sat there stiffly. At the side, young Master Ao Tian and Bing, F.A. Bingjing, Huan were standing behind. I heard that the sky demon is here. When we hold our wedding later, let's use fresh blood to decorate it. Red festive. Chapter 1597. 1590, 7 dominance and madness 1. Fresh blood, red, festive. In the festive room, young Master Ao Tian said to Ling Jianyar with a smile on his face. When he heard that Priest Wang was a sky demon, he was shocked for a very long time. He never expected that after he left, all the people of their sect in the divine kingdom ruins would be killed. Even the Grand Elder was killed by the sky demon, a terrifying powerhouse who was not even 30 years old, a powerhouse who could destroy the entire dynasty by himself. Even he felt his scalp go numb. Fortunately, he had the lone sect as his backer, and he had his father, young Lord Ao Tian. I hope that the lone sect can hand over the sky demon's corpse to us. We want to use his corpse to pay tribute to the millions of spirits of our ice race in the sky. Beside him, Bing Fa Wu clenched his fists tightly as he growled in a low voice. His eyes were filled with deep hatred. In fact, his eyes were filled with endless hatred when he looked at Bing Jian. However, now that Bing Jian was going to marry young Master Ao Tian, he hid this hatred very well. No problem. Young Master Ao Tian smiled at Bing Fa Wu and Bing Jinghuan. Not only Sky Demon, all his friends, and even the entire Luhai region will be buried with him. Bing Fa Wu was stunned for a moment before a cruel smile appeared on her face. Ling Jian, who was sitting in front of the dressing table, was filled with anger. However, her body was being controlled and she could not speak. Time is about to start. Senior Bing Fa Wu, little brother Bing Jinghuan, let's go out and welcome the guests. Ao Tian said to them as he walked out with a smile. Bing Fa Wu and Bing Jing Huan nodded and followed behind him. One of them was the groom, while the other was the relative of the bride. Naturally, they had to greet the guests. Congratulations, young Master Ao Tian. Congratulations, young Master Ao Tian. Congratulations. Ao Tian and the other two arrived in front of Ing Tian Peak. At this moment, there were more than 100,000 people gathered in the huge square. All the powerful forces in the entire vast region had arrived. The Southern Royal Family, the Wuji Empire, and the 8 first-rate forces were all present. All of them were rushing over. Seeing young Master Ao Tian walking out, all the experts from the forces immediately greeted him with smiles on their faces. Young Master Ao Tian smiled and nodded to each of the forces. Young Master Ao Tian, our 9 Lotus sect has received news that the Sky Demon seems to be rushing over. An expert from a first-rate force walked over and said in a soft voice, Thank you for your reminder, 9 Lotus sect. Young Master Ao Tian smiled faintly. No need, no need. The people from the 9 Lotus sect immediately smiled and shook their heads. Congratulations to the 2 from the Bingxin Empire. At this moment, a mocking voice suddenly sounded. Bing Fa Wu and Bing Jinghuan, who were greeting the various forces behind young Master Ao Tian, instantly became embarrassed. They looked forward and saw Wu Qingqing looking at them with a mocking expression. Wu Qingqing, just congratulate me. Ao Tian looked forward and said with a smile, marrying a daughter-in-law is such a huge loss. There is nothing to congratulate. Wu Qingqing did not give Ao Tian much face and said lightly, Wu Qingqing, I know that the Sky Demon has done you a favor, but so what? I will let you see his body soon and mourn for him. Ao Tian's face turned cold when he heard Wu Qingqing's words. Humph! Wu Qingqing's face also turned ugly as he watched Ao Tian walk forward. Qingqing, only our sect and Priest Wang are fighting to the death. We can't help you with this matter, or it will cause a war between the 2 forces. An elder at the side said slowly to Wu Qingqing. I know. Wu Qingqing nodded with a gloomy face. Now, I hope Priest Wang doesn't act rashly or else. He scanned his surroundings with an embarrassed expression. In the incomparably huge Ingtian Peak, all the forces in the vast region had arrived. All the disciples and experts of the Solitaire sect were scattered around the surrounding areas. The experts were spying on them. Even the Patriarch of the Solitaire sect and the Patriarch of the Solitaire sect were also watching them. In such a situation, once Wang Xian arrived, there was a slim chance of survival. It could even be said that there was no way for him to survive. Even if it was the Wuji Empire, unless they used all their strength, they would not be able to gain any benefits here. Let's hope so. The elder from the Wuji Empire nodded slowly. The matter of the Saint Prince of Light being a sky demon had also shocked the entire Wuji Empire. If it wasn't for the fact that he and the solipsistic sect had caused such a huge ruckus, they would have wanted to befriend him. However, there was nothing they could do about it. Little Yuan, do you think young Master Wang will come today? At the He clan's seat, He Suiqing frowned as he looked around and asked He Yuan. I think so. He Yuan smiled bitterly. Based on his understanding of Wang Xian, this brother of his would definitely come today. This if he comes here, then. He Suiqing pursed his lips and scanned his surroundings. He Yuan didn't say anything. He sighed silently. He hoped that Wang Xian wouldn't come. It wasn't just the Wuji Empire and the He clan. Everything that happened today wasn't about the wedding between the young master of Ao Tian and Ling Jian. Instead, it was about the announcement of the sect and whether or not the Sky Demon would come. With the Sky Demon's strength, if he came today, he would be instantly killed. If he came, he would never come back. The sect did not take the Sky Demon's threat seriously at all. Instead, they held the wedding here and insulted the Sky Demon. It was as if they were saying, "Look, we want your woman. She's a peerless beauty with monstrous demonic chi. How could we offend our sect? Unless the Sky Demon doesn't come out this time and hides for hundreds or even thousands of years, waiting for an opportunity to take revenge." The surrounding forces were discussing in low voices. "The two from the Bingxin dynasty, come here. We have something to ask you." At this moment, a voice suddenly sounded in the huge square. The voice did not have the slightest scruple and carried a trace of dominance. All the factions of Ing Tian Peak were slightly stunned. They hurriedly looked towards the source of the voice. Even all the experts from the unique sect narrowed their eyes slightly and looked over coldly. However, when they saw the person who spoke, everyone was slightly startled. "Hiss, why is this person here? Why is this person from the Southern royal family here?" The eyes of all the factions narrowed slightly, and a trace of solemnity appeared on their faces. Bing Fa Wu and Bing Jinghuan, who were following beside young Master Aotian, were slightly shocked and quickly walked over. Even young Master Aotian followed by the side in surprise and immediately walked over. There was an old man with long black hair that reached his waist. His hair was neat, and there was a trace of brutality in his frown. The top powerhouse of the Southern royal family, Nangong Jianghe. Chapter 1598. 1598, domineering and crazy too. Senior. Aotian and Bing Fa Wu walked over and immediately cupped their hands respectfully towards the long-haired old man. "Let me ask you something. 7 days ago, a dozen young disciples of our Southern royal family passed by your icy heart, Imperial City. Do you know about this?" Nangong Jianghe saw their respectful expressions, and his expression didn't change at all. He directly asked Bing Fa Wu. 7 days ago. Bing Fa Wu was slightly taken aback. "Reporting to Senior, if the Southern royal family's disciples come, our Bingxin Imperial City will definitely welcome them warmly. 7 days ago, our Bingxin Imperial dynasty was met with an extermination disaster." As he spoke, his expression was extremely unsightly. 7 days ago, more than 10 core disciples of our Southern royal family went missing at your place. We haven't heard from them since. Nangong Jianghe said coldly with a gloomy face. These core disciples had his favorite great-grandson. He didn't expect them to go missing right now. In this vast area, who would dare to kill his beloved grandson? Even the experts of the only sect didn't dare to do so. "Brother Jianghe, since you're here, come and have a seat." At this moment, the Supreme Sect Master's voice came from the distant mountain peak. "Okay." Nangong Jianghe looked up and hesitated for a moment before nodding his head. His figure moved and disappeared in an instant. "I didn't expect the patriarch of the Southern royal family to come today." Wu Qingqing frowned slightly when he saw the disappearing figure. "Our patriarch Dark Eye has already broken through several layers of the Black Water God Lake's restrictions. The reason why Patriarch Southern Emperor came this time should be to discuss the issue of alliance with the only sect." The old man behind Wu Qingqing said with a smile. "Dark Eye Patriarch is about to break through the restrictions? It seems that the lone sect and the Southern Emperor family are getting anxious." Wu Qingqing was slightly stunned before an excited expression appeared on his face. A divine tree suddenly appeared in the Black Water God Lake. According to the 3 superpowers guesses, this divine tree had powerful functions. The three superpowers competed with each other and restrained each other. Seeing that the Wuji Empire was about to break the restriction, they naturally had to join forces to fight against them. This wasn't something rare. In fact, the three superpowers often worked together to compete against each other. Sometimes the Wuji Empire would join forces with the Solitaire sect to deal with the Southern royal family. Other times, the other party would join forces to deal with them. Brother Zhenghe, I didn't expect you to come so early. On the Unitary Peak, the Unitary sect master sat on a green chair and signaled to Nangong Zhenghe. More than 10 disciples of the Southern royal family disappeared in the Bingxin imperial city. We came here to ask the people of the Bingxin Empire in advance, Nangong Zhenghe said with a bad expression. They disappeared in the Bingxin Empire 7 days ago. It must be the work of the Sky Demon. The Supreme Hierarch said calmly, The Sky Demon is coming to our sect. We will kill him and give you an explanation. All right then, let's talk about the divine tree in the Blackwater Divine Lake. Nangong Zhenghe nodded. The disciples of the Southern royal family should have been killed by the Sky Demon. However, the death of the Sky Demon basically put an end to this matter. Even if he felt sorry for his great-grandson, he could only do so much. All right, for the Blackwater Divine Lake, if we work together, the Tree of God has a 90% chance of obtaining it. However, for all the gains, we, the Supreme Sect, want 70%. Oh, the Supreme Sect leader is so confident. However, this 70% is a little too high. It is a little too high, but for that 20%, our Supreme Sect will have to pay a huge price. The Supreme Headmaster said to Nangong Zhenghe, I don't understand why the Supreme Headmaster is so confident. Nangong Zhenghe sipped his tea and asked, The mistress of the desolate sea wants a treasure from our sect. She wants to use that treasure to lure her out. The Southern royal family will pay the 20% price. The Supreme Headmaster said with a smile on his face, The mistress of the barren sea. Nangong Zhenghe narrowed his eyes. I didn't expect you to invite her. Where is the mistress? I invited her today. She will give face to our sect. She should be here soon. The Supreme Headmaster said confidently, Okay, I want to see the desolate goddess. Nangong Zhenghe nodded solemnly. The desolate sea lord, the desolate goddess, had single-handedly destroyed a first-rate force overnight. Compared to the Sky Demon's strength, the desolate goddess was truly terrifying. This was because even they had to be extremely wary of the desolate goddess. In fact, they definitely couldn't become enemies with her because her methods were too strange. The two leaders of the superpowers were chatting. At Tian Peak's location, all the powers in the vast region had gathered. All the powers were clearly seated in different places. Every single one of them was an existence that could shake the entire region for tens of thousands of kilometers. Chirp, 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 chirp. The auspicious time has arrived. At noon, the chirping of birds could be heard from the sky. It's the Chaotian sparrow. The Chaotian sparrow demonic beast clan, a rank 7 profound void demonic beast clan. Everyone's powers immediately looked towards the sky. Numerous green Chaotian sparrows were circling in the sky. Flower petals directly fell from the sky. The largest Chaotian sparrow in the lead let out a human's voice. Under the control of Chaotian sparrow, the flower petals kept floating in the sky, making the entire Tian Peak extremely beautiful. A 7th-level profound void martial stage Chaotian sparrow flying in the sky. This is simply too beautiful. To be able to marry the young lord of Tian is simply a great fortune. Unfortunately, Bing Jian actually fell in love with the Sky Devil. Perhaps Bing Jian has already gone back on her words and is prepared to spend the rest of her life with the young lord of Tian. After all, if she marries the young lord of Tian, She might be able to become the Supreme Headmaster's wife in the future. The birds flew in the sky, and the young men and women from all the factions raised their heads in shock. Using a 7th-level void interpretation demonic beast to dress up a wedding was something that only the 3 super factions could do. This could be said to be something that made all the women present extremely envious. They wished that they were the ones who would marry young Master Aotian. Let's welcome the bride and groom. A woman's voice sounded from a stone platform in front of Ing Tian Peak. There were flower petals placed on it. Spiritual pearls were placed on both sides, rows upon rows of extremely luxurious pearls. They were all connected to the cave dwelling where the bride of Ing Tian Peak was. When the woman's voice fell, Ling Jian, who was wearing a red veil, and the arrogant young Master Aotian walked out. The 2 of them walked all the way to the stone platform. Young Master Aotian swept his gaze over everyone around him, his cold and arrogant face filled with a smile. All the forces around him were gathered on young Master Aotian and Ling Jian. Please welcome the groom's relatives. Please welcome the bride's relatives. The woman stood at the front, her face full of smiles as she continued to shout. At the back, Bing Fa Wu slowly walked over, his face squeezing out traces of a smile. With the destruction of the Ice Heart dynasty, it was already very difficult for him to be able to smile. My son getting married is the happiest time for me as his mother. A graceful and elegant lady walked over slowly. Mother. Aotian turned around and shouted with a smile on his face. Tian heir is getting married. As her father, I naturally have to attend personally. At this moment, a voice came from the sky, and 2 figures flew over instantly. One figure landed at the front of the Southern royal family and sat down. The other figure landed beside Aotian with a smile on his face. Father. Aotian immediately bowed. Supreme Headmaster. Around him, tens of thousands of elite disciples and powerhouses of Supreme Headmaster quickly bowed to show their respect. All the forces around were filled with respect. Welcome to my son's wedding. Is everyone here? Oh, the Supreme Sect leader stood on the stage and smiled as he scanned the surrounding people. When everyone saw this scene, their hearts trembled. It was about to begin. Supreme Sect leader, all the factions have arrived, but the desolate goddess has yet to arrive. Other than that, there is still one person who has yet to arrive. I wonder if he will still come. An old man cupped his hands and reported from below. Chapter 1599. 1599 Domineering and Crazy 3. The goddess of desolation will come. As for whether the others will come, we don't know. The Supreme Headmaster heard the report and said with a smile, What, Father, the goddess of desolation will come? As soon as the Supreme Headmaster finished his words, Aotian, who was beside him, showed a surprised expression and asked immediately, The desolation goddess will come? The Supreme Headmaster actually invited the desolation goddess. Oh my God, the mysterious desolation sea goddess, she actually came today. This is an extremely terrifying existence. Although the desolation goddess only attacked once, she instantly destroyed the first-rate power, the Nanshan family. She is much more terrifying than the Sky Demon. The Sky Fiend and the Goddess of Desolation are simply not on the same level. The Goddess of Desolation is an existence that even the 3 super factions fear. When the surrounding factions heard the Supreme Headmaster's words, they revealed shocked expressions. Compared to the high-profile Sky Fiend, the Goddess of Desolation was very low-key. She had only attacked once. However, that one time had made all the forces in the vast region see how terrifying that person was. Even the 3 super forces had acknowledged that person as the mistress of the Sea of Desolation. Her terrifying behemoth and strange abilities had shocked all the forces, including the 3 super forces. The Goddess of Desolation has actually come to the only sect. Everyone in Wuji Empire had solemn expressions on their faces. Nangong Jianghe's arrival and the arrival of the goddess of desolation. Could it be a signal? Was our sect closer to the goddess of desolation? The supreme headmaster nodded his head lightly and looked around. As for whether there is anyone else, that is no longer important. Today is the day of my son's wedding. But before that, our sect would like to announce something. The supreme sect leader's body slowly emitted a supreme aura. The aura directly charged towards everyone in front of him. The hearts of all the factions in the vast region slightly trembled as they watched in awe. Ever since my only sect was established, all the enemies who dared to provoke my only sect have now turned to dust. A cold voice sounded in everyone's ears. Everyone knew that our cult had started to take action against the Sky Demon. If they didn't take action, it would be fine, but if they did, it would probably be a massacre. The last time a faction provoked our cult was more than 10,000 years ago. At that time, more than 5 million people from that faction were all killed. Even those who were related to that faction were all killed. Those who offend the Supreme Sect will be executed. The Supreme Sect leader's voice thundered in everyone's ears. This shocked everyone. What is the Supreme Sect trying to do? An elder from the He clan frowned. He suddenly had a bad premonition. Our ancestors are weak. The Supreme Sect cannot be weak. Even if it is heaven or earth, we must kill the Sky Devil. The Supreme Headmaster stood there, his body slowly emitting traces of killing intent. Today is my son's wedding day. Red represents celebration, but sorry I'm late. Just as the Supreme Headmaster continued to speak, an indifferent voice came from afar. The Supreme Headmaster focused his gaze and looked forward. Everyone around him was also slightly shocked. They immediately turned their heads. He's here. The Sky Demon is really here. He actually dared to come here. Hiss, as expected of the Sky Demon. However, he is simply sending himself to his death by coming here. When the people from all the factions saw Wang Xian and Mo Sha walking over in the air, a hint of shock appeared on their faces. 1 step, 2 steps, and 3 steps later, Wang Xian had already arrived at the spot in front of Yingtian Peak. His gaze landed on Ling Jian. He heaved a sigh of relief when he felt that Ling Jian was not injured at all. Jian, I'm here to bring you back. Wang Xian said softly. Shut up. A person who is about to die actually dares to address my Ao Tian's wife by her name. Ao Tian's lips curled up slightly when he saw Wang Xian's arrival as he shouted coldly. Supreme Headmaster, kill him, kill him. Beside him, Bing Fa Wu stared at Wang Xian with a heavy breathing and growled in a low voice. Haha, since you are a guest, let this Sky Demon enjoy the last scene of his life. The Supreme Headmaster smiled and said loudly, Continue then. Wang Xian stood in the air and stared at the Supreme Headmaster indifferently. As expected of the Sky Demon, even when he met the Supreme Headmaster, he still has this kind of spirit. What kind of spirit? He's just a boorish man, a person who is about to die. The people around saw Wang Xian and discussed in a low voice. Everyone from the He clan and the Wuji Empire frowned. Putting everything aside, just this kind of spirit was enough to make them submit. Red represents celebration. However, there are still many heroic souls in our sect that have yet to be sacrificed. The heroic souls have to be sacrificed with fresh blood. Coincidentally, the fresh blood is also red, so with the blood of the Sky Demon and the blood of all the relatives and friends of the Sky Demon, let us offer our congratulations. A blood-colored wedding sounded a little scary. However, this was not the tyranny of our sect. Everything was caused by Ling Jian, and the Sky Demon. Even though Ling Jian had married into our sect, they still had to offer sacrifices to the souls that had died because of her. Ao Tian did not have any objections to this blood-colored wedding. On the contrary, he was looking forward to it. The only sect was the only sect. As the supreme sect leader spoke, his gaze finally landed on Wang Xian. He didn't put him in his eyes at all. Who does the supreme sect leader want to kill? Family and friends. Everyone around was slightly shocked. Astonishment appeared on their faces. As for the position of the He clan, when the He clan members heard these words, their expressions changed instantly. I will rush over to your Luhai region and all your family and friends after today. But now, Buzz, the supreme headmaster waved his arm and an image appeared in the sky. No, don't kill me, don't kill me. Please don't kill me. We have nothing to do with Priest Wang. We are merely being treated by him. Terrified voices were suddenly heard. At this moment, the expressions of all the forces changed drastically. Even Wang Xian, who had long been calm and composed, trembled. His eyes were fixed on the scene in the image. Nearly 100,000 people are indebted to you. Die! The supreme headmaster pointed his finger in the air. In the screen, gusts of wind blades slashed towards the 100,000 people. Ah! The screams were clearly heard by everyone. It was so terrifying that it made one's hair stand on end. Wang Xian's body trembled a little as he slowly closed his eyes. He slowly raised his head and placed the violent blood pill into his mouth. I didn't kill Bo Ren and Bo Ren, but I'm the one who died. There's no need to retreat. Haha, Dai. Kill millions of my ice race members. Everyone who is related to the sky demon must die. Below, Bing Jinghuan was roaring ferociously when he saw this scene. His face was filled with excitement and ferocity. Everyone in the surroundings was shocked, overbearing and crazy. This was the solipsistic sect. This is only the beginning. He Yuan from the He clan came out to commit suicide. Chapter 1600. 1600 Tyrannies and Madness 4. This is only the beginning. He Yuan from the He clan came out to commit suicide. The scene in the sky showed that nearly 100,000 people who had been treated by Wang Xian were all killed. However, this was only the beginning for the solipsistic sect. When the supreme chief said this sentence, everyone was shocked. He Yuan of the He clan had come out to commit suicide. He clan, this was the top He clan among the first-rate forces. He Yuan was the most outstanding disciple of the entire He clan. He was even groomed to be the successor of the next clan leader. Even so, the supreme chief announced that He Yuan of the He clan had come out to commit suicide. How overbearing was this? What? You want to kill He Yuan? The supreme headmaster's words caused the expressions of everyone from Wang Xian's He clan to change drastically. Even He Yuan's face turned pale instantly and cold sweat appeared on his forehead. The He clan was indeed powerful. Even the 3 superpowers had to be wary of the He clan. However, if the supreme headmaster wanted to kill He Yuan, would the He clan dare to disobey? Even if the He clan could withstand the onslaught of the supreme headmaster, there was a condition. That was, they could hide in the holy tree and not come out. However, could they hide forever? Hiss! This supreme headmaster is so overbearing. He Yuan of the He clan. He killed nearly 100,000 people saved by the sky demon. And now, he wants to kill the sky demon's friend He Yuan. This is too overbearing. Everyone's faces were filled with shock, and their gazes were all focused on the He clan. Little Yuan. He Sui-Ching, who was holding on to He Yuan's arm, had an incomparably pale face. Her body was slightly trembling as she looked at him. If I remember correctly, more than 10,000 years ago, a powerful force provoked the lone sect. At that time, that force had several million people killed. Other than the direct members of this force, there were also several million people who were implicated. A total of 7 to 8 million people died at the hands of the lone sect. It was also from that time that the supreme sect became known as the supreme sect in heaven and earth. It was overbearing and powerful, and it was deeply rooted in the hearts of the people. The elder of Wuji Empire frowned and said slowly, "The supreme sect leader had made the most core disciple of a top-tier force commit suicide. Even they were a little surprised. Powerful, it was simply too powerful." All the forces looked at the He clan with some sympathy. "Lord Supreme Sect Leader, this matter has nothing to do with our Yuan. Why? Can Supreme Sect Leader give our Yuan a way out?" The He clan elder's expression changed drastically as he begged the Supreme Sect Leader for mercy. "Do you want our only sect to help?" The Supreme Sect Leader swept a cold glance over. Everyone from the He clan trembled. He Yuan stood there and slowly closed his eyes. "To dare to kill a disciple of our sect, this is only the beginning. After today, I will personally head to the Luhai region. Do you feel some regret?" The Supreme Headmaster looked at Wang Xian indifferently and said expressionlessly, "He, Jian, I will lift your head. Look, this is the outcome of going against our sect." Ao Tian took off Ling Jian, Yar's head with a smile, and said with a smile. Ling Jian looked at Wang Xian, who was in front of her. Tears were glistening in her eyes. "Then let our sect grant you death." The Supreme Headmaster ordered indifferently when he saw the humiliation on the faces of the He clansmen. "It's the Supreme Headmaster." A middle-aged man immediately cupped his hands and replied, "Those who offend our sect will be executed by 9 clans." The middle-aged man shouted and arrogantly looked down on the He clan's people as he slowly walked over. His speed was not very fast, but every step he took gave the He clan's people a huge pressure. The He clan's experts clenched their fists, their eyes filled with anger. Sai, the leader of the He clan's leader, powerlessly closed his eyes and waved his hand behind him. They couldn't fight back. They didn't have the right to fight back. Once they made a move, all of them would die. In the future, the He clan could only hide in the position of the holy tree. Powerless. As expected of the solipsistic sect, they are very overbearing and crazy. Wang Xian opened his eyes slowly. He could feel the fresh blood in his body burning and boiling. The medicinal effect was slowly starting to take effect. Once he consumed the violent blood pill. Even if he didn't make a move, more than half of his flesh and blood would disappear over time. Once he made a move, he would almost certainly die. "In heaven and earth, only I am the Supreme." Ao Tian stared at Wang Xian with a wild expression and said coldly, "In heaven and earth, only I am the Supreme." All the disciples of the solitaire sect in the surroundings shouted with excitement. This was the strength and tyranny of their sect. They dared to kill our brothers and sisters and exterminate their entire clan. So what if they were from the He clan? So what if they were sky devils? They were just lambs waiting to be slaughtered. Die, stupid thing! At this time, the middle-aged man of the solitaire sect, who was walking towards the He clan, waved out a wind blade arrogantly. A simple wind blade was not very strong, but it was enough to kill a 3rd or 4th level void interpretation expert. He knew that even if it was a simple attack, the 8th level insightful void martial artist beside He Yuan would not dare to stop it. Young Master Wang. When He Suiqing saw this scene, he shouted at Wang Xian in a daze. Buzz. At this moment, Wang Xian moved. With a flash, he appeared in front of the wind blade. When the wind blade landed in front of him, it dissipated immediately. Explode! He shouted softly. The middle-aged man's body exploded instantly. Fresh blood splattered in a 20-meter radius. Deacon Liu! What a fast speed! It said that the Sky Demon once single-handedly blocked 3 level 8 see-through void martial artists. What terrifying strength! He killed a deacon of the solitaire sect right in front of the Supreme Headmaster. When the body of the middle-aged man from the lone sect exploded, everyone had shocked expressions on their faces. The supreme leader was also slightly stunned. A hint of embarrassment flashed across his eyes. He had underestimated the strength of the sky demon. "I'm sorry, Brother Hiyuan. I've implicated you." Wang Xian stood in front of Hiyuan and turned his head to speak plainly to him. "We're all brothers." Hiyuan forced a bitter smile at Wang Xian, but he replied in a carefree manner. "You are very good." The supreme headmaster pointed his finger in the air. Streams of terrifying wind attribute gathered instantly. Crack, crack, crack. A wind prison directly trapped Wang Xian. Wang Xian looked at it indifferently and didn't move. However, the hostility in his eyes grew stronger and stronger. "Hiss! The supreme headmaster has made his move." He pointed his finger at the void and trapped the Sky Devil. The Sky Devil didn't even have time to react. No matter what, the Sky Devil will die in the place of the Supreme Headmaster. Everyone was shocked when they saw the Supreme Headmaster making his move. "Very good. Kill that woman as well." The Supreme Headmaster spoke again and glanced at Hisui Qing, who was beside Hiyuan. Whoever was related to the Sky Demon would die. What? The miss of the Hisuezu clan was also sentenced to death. This is simply the death of whoever opens his mouth. The Supreme Headmaster is too overbearing. All the forces were shocked again, and the faces of all the Hisuezu clan members turned ugly. But there was still no way. In this sky and this land, only the Supreme Headmaster of the Hisuezu clan was supreme. Chapter 1601. 1601 Domineering and Crazy 5. Yes. After the Supreme Chief had judged Hisui Qing, an elder from the solipsistic sect cupped his hands and accepted the order. His gaze swept over Hisui Qing and Hiyuan without any emotion on his face. "I wonder if there will be anyone who will stop us." A cold smile appeared on the elder's face. He glanced at Wang Xian with disdain and walked straight ahead. Hisui Qing looked at the enforcers of the Supreme Sect, who were walking towards him. His face was pale as he held Hiyuan's arm tightly. "Supreme Sect leader, aren't you guys too overbearing?" Hiyuan stared at the Supreme Sect leader and shouted with an extremely embarrassed expression. "You don't have the right to speak to our sect leader. Go to hell. I want to see who else dares to stop you." A cold expression appeared on the elder's face. With a wave of his arm, a powerful energy directly attacked Hiyuan and Hisui Qing. Hiyuan's body trembled. Everyone from the He clan and Hisui Qing closed their eyes and lowered their heads. Too overbearing. Humph! Blame the Sky Demon for killing so many disciples of the sect. After all, many core disciples of the sect have been killed in the ruins of the Divine Kingdom. There are at least tens of thousands of them. Now, the revenge of the lone sect is only the beginning. The surrounding factions whispered when they saw the powerful lone sect. "Kiki, I'll give it a try too." At that moment, a sinister and terrifying voice sounded. "Explode!" Boom! The sound of an explosion sounded once again. Just like the last time, blood splattered everywhere. At this moment, all the surrounding factions were stunned. The Supreme Sect leader's cold aura that looked down on the world was completely frozen as well. The only sect is only SOSO. Could it be that villains die because they talk too much? "Kiki!" A mocking voice rang out, causing the expressions of all the surrounding factions to become exceptionally interesting. It was the second time. The first time, the Sky Demon attacked and killed a deacon of the only sect. Now, the hunchbacked old man who had followed the Sky Demon had also killed one of the deacons of the lone sect. Blood splattered everywhere. For the first time, it was understandable if the Supreme Headmaster was too arrogant and did not react. But this time, 2 consecutive times, it was a slap to the face. Even the experts of some forces twitched their mouths. He is indeed peerless. One sky demon is at the peak of the 8th rank of the profound void martial stage, and the other one is not weak either. It seems that I have to make a move today. The Supreme Headmaster's eyes jumped and his face darkened. Headmaster, leave it to our Supreme Guardian group. At this time, 7 elders slowly walked out from below and asked the Supreme Headmaster for instructions. Lord Supreme Headmaster, please let me chop off the head of the sky demon with my own hands and pay tribute to the millions of heroic spirits of our Bingxin dynasty. Bing F.A. Wu jumped down and bowed respectfully to the Supreme Headmaster. Our sect must be serious. The Supreme Guardian Group is made up of 7 experts at the 8th rank of the Profound Void tier. Each Guardian Group is very powerful. Under normal circumstances, they will not act unless the sect is in danger. The Heavenly Demon is already very powerful to force the Supreme Guardian Group to act. This is the end of the matter. Some people took a deep breath when they saw the 7 experts at the 8th rank of the Profound Void tier and Bing F.A. Wu of the Bingxin Empire walk out in an instant. The foundations of the 3 superforces were too strong. It was already very powerful for a first-rate force to have 2 experts at the 8th rank of the Profound Void tier. However, our sect could easily have 7 or 8. This was also the reason why the He clan and the He Sui clan did not dare to resist. Supreme Sect Leader, our 9 Lotus sect is willing to help the lone sect. An old man's voice suddenly came from behind. The old man had an arm that was about 2 meters long. His face was full of muscles, and his entire body was filled with a murderous aura. Supreme Sect Leader, our Dust sect is willing to kill enemies for the lone sect. Just as the long-armed elder of the 9 Lotus sect finished speaking, another sect's patriarch stepped forward and respectfully requested for instructions. The 9 Lotus sect and the Dust sect, 2 first-rate forces, have also stepped forward. This is clearly an opportunity to gain the favor of our sect by stepping out and doing odd jobs. Why not? Unfortunately, we're only a second-rate force and don't even have the qualifications to do odd jobs. The eyes of all the surrounding forces flickered. This was an opportunity to curry favor with the cult of solitaire. However, they were not qualified to do so. Let's settle this as soon as possible. The Supreme Sect Leader, who had wanted to establish his authority, was also a little angry after the 2 deacons were killed. He gave the order directly. It's the Supreme Sect Leader. The group of 10 see-through Void Tier 8 powerhouses cupped their hands. Instantly, their bodies emitted a terrifying pressure. They turned their heads and looked at Wang Xian and Mo Sha. 10 against 2. Among those of the same level, no matter how powerful they were, they would be able to kill them. In the surroundings, everyone could not help but take a few steps back. Their eyes were fixed on the death of the first-generation Sky Demon. His head, I hope everyone can let me, Bing F.A. Wu, cut it off. Bing F.A. Wu stared at Wang Xian with hatred and growled. Haha, sure. In a while, we will create an opportunity for Brother Bing F.A. Wu. The 2 patriarchs of the 9 Lotus sect and Dust sect said with smiles on their faces. 10 people at the 8th level of the see-through Void tier killed 2 of them. They did not dare to guarantee that they would be able to kill them in one move. However, they could still take them down within 10 moves under the siege. Sister Jian, watch carefully. Ao Tian looked at Ling Jian, and said indifferently. Ling Jian, Yar's eyes turned red. She closed them slowly and a tear fell. Haha, die. Bing Jing Huan roared with a ferocious face. He wanted to see his ancestor behead the Sky Demon and avenge his father and all his family. Do it! The Supreme Protector Group and Bing F.A. Wu of the Only Sect, who were at rank 8 of the Profound Void martial stage, let out a light shout as resplendent weapons appeared in their hands. Hee, it's about to start. That's what makes it interesting. I hate trash the most, so let's clean up the 2 trash first. Emo Shah laughed maniacally when he saw the 10 profound, void, martial stage experts facing them. Strands of demonic chi slowly rose, and his turbid eyes began to turn pure black. Boom! Demonic chi erupted, and the black clouds in the sky instantly churned. An invincible aura rushed out in all directions. Trash, go to hell! Emo Shah waved his arms to the two sides. Strands of demonic chi were like ferocious and terrifying demonic dragons, directly crushing towards the 9 Lotus sect and the Dust Gate. What? A cry of surprise came from the Supreme Headmaster and Nangong Zhongha. Their pupils constricted slightly. Wang Xian, who was trapped in the wind prison, slowly extended his arms. When his hands touched the wind prison, it dissipated immediately. The 5 elements crown on his head was sparkling. Chapter 1602. 1602 Battle of Madness 1. Roar, roar, roar. Roars came from Emo Shah's demonic chi. The roars were like a dragon's roar, majestic and terrifying. The 2 terrifying demonic chi turned into ferocious dragon heads and attacked the 9 Lotus sect and the Dust Gate, respectively. Emo Shah spread his arms and looked like an awakened demon. What? This aura? This? My God! This aura is definitely not something that can be emitted by an 8th level profound void martial artist. The devil chi swept out in all directions, and the devil dragon swept out. It was filled with a brutal, murderous aura. When the 9 Lotus sect's patriarch and the Dust Gate's patriarch sensed this terrifying aura, their expressions changed drastically, and their foreheads were covered in cold sweat. No. However, in the 9 Lotus sects and the Dust sect's positions, there were a total of 400 to 500 sect disciples. Those who were able to attend this banquet today were all core disciples of the sect. When they felt the attack that was filled with a destructive aura approaching, their faces revealed expressions of fear. This aura was too strong. Level 9 Void Interpretation. 100% Level 9 Void Interpretation. Everyone's faces were filled with despair. Boom! The disciples and experts of the 2 great sects didn't have the slightest reaction. The terrifying attack instantly killed him. Moreover, Emo Shah clearly used an extremely cruel method to make his flesh and blood fly everywhere. Blood splattered everywhere. Not a single one was left. 9th level void interpretation stage. Since when did our vast region have an expert at the 9th level void interpretation stage? The elder from the Wuji Empire roared in a low voice. Nangong Zhongha's gaze stared at Emo Shah as his eyes flickered with a luster. Similarly, he spoke directly. 9th level void interpretation stage. These 4 words caused all the people from the various factions to gulp as they stared at Emo Shah in disbelief. Kiki, these 2 small fries actually dare to court death. Don't be anxious. After I leave today, I will make your 9 Lotus sect and Dust sect vanish into thin air. Emo Shah ignored the exclamations and shocked gazes around him. His gaze swept past the 9 Lotus sect and Dust sect's patriarchs as he laughed heartily with a face full of smiles. In the eyes of the 9 Lotus sect and Dust sect's 2 patriarchs, his smile was like that of an abyss demon. The bodies of the 2 could not help but tremble. They looked at the position of their sect in a daze. All of them were killed. Not a single one was left alive. They did not have the slightest doubt about Emo Shah's words. They could already imagine the fate of their sect after provoking a demon of the 9th level of the profound void tier along with the sky demon. Why is it like this? Their eyes were filled with endless regret. In their opinion, the sky demon was doomed to die today. They only wanted to curry favor with the lone sect. How could they expect to end up like this? Level 9 of the profound void tier. Are you going to be our lone sect's enemy? The lone sovereign sect master stared at Emo Shah with a cold expression and clenched his fists. An expert of the same level was already able to make their sect treat him seriously. In fact, they even had to deal with him carefully. After all, there were only 2 experts of level 9 of the see-through realm in their sect. If they could not make an enemy out of him completely, it would be the best choice. As the Supreme Headmaster spoke, his face was no longer as arrogant as before. He looked a little embarrassed. Sen Jian are over. Without waiting for Mo Sha to reply, Wang Xian's cold voice rang out. This sentence made everyone from the Supreme Headmaster look extremely embarrassed. Sending Ling Jian are over was equivalent to snatching the marriage. Furthermore, it was snatching the marriage of the young master of the Supreme Headmaster. Once Ling Jian are left with him, the Supreme Headmaster would lose a lot of face. You're wishful thinking, just based on you. Ao Tian's face was filled with anger as he stared at Wang Xian with blood-red eyes and roared. It's best if you send my boss Tian Mo's wife over. Otherwise, for the next few thousand years, I will play well with the only sect. Kiki. Unless you can kill me, you'll have to hide in the only mountains forever. Kiki. However, before he could finish his sentence, Mo Sha's faint voice was heard. As he spoke, his figure moved and came to Wang Xian's side. The 2 of them were facing Solitaire Sect, one of the 3 major forces in the vast region. Mo Sha's face was filled with arrogance. At this moment, Mo Sha felt that his body was abnormally strong, especially the position of his heart. An endless stream of demonic energy was providing him with energy. He felt as if he was going to blow up the sky. He, who was originally arrogant, now had a domineering aura that showed that he didn't put the people in the world in his eyes. This domineering aura was even stronger than the current Supreme Sect leader. Hiss, that old man actually called Sky Demon Boss this. A level 9 profound void martial artist. Sky Demon also has a level 9 profound void martial artist by his side. Now, it will be difficult for the sect to destroy Sky Demon. This time, the only sect has truly encountered a tough opponent. All the surrounding factions were extremely shocked when they saw the sudden appearance of the 9th level profound void martial stage expert. They had never imagined that the old man by the Sky Demon's side would actually be such a terrifying existence. The 9th level of the profound void martial stage was invincible in the vast region. The gazes of the various factions swept past the 9 Lotus Sect and the Dust Gate, revealing mocking expressions. These 2 first-rate forces were going to be finished. You. Young Lord Ao Tian's expression changed drastically when he heard Mo Sha's words. Even the Supreme Headmaster's expression was extremely ugly. No one dares to threaten our only sect. At this moment, an angry voice came from the sky. An old man holding a dragon-headed walking stick was sitting on a green dragon chair floating in the air. Patriarch Feng Qi. It's Patriarch Feng Qi of the Solitaire Sect. Seeing the figure suddenly appear, everyone was slightly shocked and immediately looked up. Kiki, so what if I threaten the Solitaire Sect? With just the 2 of you, can you stop me, Mo Sha? Old geezer. Today I leisurely came to the Solitaire Sect's land. I can also leisurely walk out. So what if I threaten you? Mo Sha arrogantly shouted at everyone in Only Me Sect. When the surrounding people saw the incomparably arrogant Mo Sha, they were slightly stunned and quietly watched. Mo Sha's arrogance had its own right to be arrogant. Although Only Me Sect had 2 experts at the 9th level of the Profound Void tier, it was extremely difficult to really leave Mo Sha here. Ka. The Supreme Headmaster looked at the incomparably arrogant Mo Sha, tightly clenching his arm and emitting crisp sounds. His eyes flickered with a crazy killing intent. Patriarch Feng Qi also slowly stood up and locked onto Mo Sha. Don't glare at me. Come and fuck me if you have the guts. If you don't have the guts, immediately send Boss Mo's wife over. Mo Sha's face was filled with laughter as he glanced at the Supreme Headmaster and Patriarch Feng Qi. Light as the wind and light as the clouds. Chapter 1603. 1603 Battle of Madness 2. You. Mo Sha's somewhat mocking words resounded throughout the entire Ying Tian Peak. When the Supreme Headmaster and Patriarch Feng Qi heard his words, their faces were filled with fury. Let me tell you, no one dares to be so arrogant towards our Supreme Headmaster. The Supreme Headmaster stared at Mo Sha and growled in a low voice. His terrifying aura caused the entire sky to change. The sky-facing sparrows were already flying around in fear as they stared in their direction. So what if you're arrogant? I'll ask you, are you going to give me the person? Mo Sha glanced at the two of them and questioned them without any fear. The Supreme Headmaster and Patriarch Feng Qi's expressions changed. Father, do I really want to? Ao Tian looked at his father and the Patriarch's hesitant expressions. His expression changed instantly and he opened his mouth in embarrassment. Around them, Bing Fa Wu and Bing Jing Huan's faces were as though they were dripping blood. Their bodies were trembling as they stood there. I'll give you 3 seconds to consider. Wang Xian stared at them and said faintly, 3 seconds to consider? This isn't just threatening our sect. It's suppressing them. The words of the Sky Demon are a little. When everyone around heard Wang Xian's words, their expressions changed slightly. They felt that the words of the Sky Demon were a little too arrogant. After all, the sect had 2 people at level 9 of the see-through void tier. They were just fearful, not fearful. Now that the Sky Demon was so domineering and said that he would give them 3 seconds, his tone that was close to an order would cause the sect to retaliate. The Supreme Headmaster laughed when he heard Wang Xian's words. He squinted his eyes slightly and looked at Wang Xian. Buzz, buzz, buzz. With a wave of his arm, gusts of wind, elemental energy surged. The clouds in the sky dispersed crazily in the surroundings. The entire sky was as blue as the horizon. Gusts of heart-palpitating energy gathered rapidly in the surroundings. The array formation rose and the world changed. The entire world seemed to have changed its master. Array formation. Supreme Sect Leader has activated the array formation. What is this? It seems like Heavenly Devil's words have forced Supreme Sect Leader into a corner. Everyone around was slightly startled as they hurriedly sized up their surroundings. If any rank 9 profound void martial expert can step on our faces, then our lone sect has no need to exist anymore. Patriarch Feng Qi stood up from the Azure Dragon chair and moved to the Supreme Hierarch's side. Activate the array. Even a rank 9 profound void martial expert can be trapped. He swept his gaze around and said indifferently, this was the place where the sect had been established for tens of thousands of years. It was still possible for the array to trap a rank 9 profound void martial expert. Brother Nangong, 50% of the profits will help us kill 2 reckless people. The Supreme Sect Master suddenly looked in the direction of the Southern Royal Family. This is... When the surrounding forces saw the formation, the Supreme Sect Master said to Nangong Jianghe, and their expressions changed. Nangong Jianghe sat there and his eyes flickered. Supreme Sect Master, I won't help you kill a rank 9 void interpretation expert. Nangong Jianghe lightly shook his head. 70% of the profits. Supreme Sect Master's face darkened as he shouted in a low voice. 80%. If we fail, your sect must give us the equivalent of an item. Nangong Jianghe directly said, all right, no one can threaten our sect. Even if we have to pay a huge price, we must kill them. Before the Supreme Headmaster could reply, Patriarch Feng Qi, who was beside him, replied. His gaze swept toward Mo Sha. He extended his arm and a huge fan appeared in his hand. The green fan was filled with special patterns. I haven't participated in a battle of the same level for a long time. Nangong Jungha stood up slowly. He swept his gaze across Mo Shah and Wang Xian with a smile and continued, "Remember, never challenge the bottom line of a powerful force. Otherwise," as he spoke, he shook his head slowly. "I'm sorry, brother." Nangong Jungha looked at Mo Shah. Wisps of flames started to rise from his body. Not good. This solitaire sect actually paid a price to invite the patriarch of the Southern royal family to take action. This time, Sky Demon and the rest have gone overboard. Upon seeing Nangong Jungha agreeing to help solitaire sect, the expressions of all the powerhouses from the factions changed slightly. Are we going to watch a world-ending battle today? Everyone thought to themselves. Everyone from the He clan and He Sui clan initially thought that He Yuan and He Sui Qing would be able to tide over the crisis. However, when they saw this scene, their expressions changed drastically again. 3 people at level 8 of the see-through void tier would be able to defeat one of them. Don't you Southern royal family know that it's best not to get involved in other people's affairs? Wang Xian turned his head to look at the Southern royal family expressionlessly and questioned coldly. Oh, so what if I'm involved? My Southern royal family's disciples went missing in the Ice Heart Imperial City 7 days ago. You should be the ones who killed them, right? It doesn't matter if you admit it or not. In fact, I'm going to make a move too. Nangong Jungha looked at Wang Xian disdainfully and questioned faintly. How is it? Wang Xian looked at Nangong Jungha and slowly closed his eyes. Then I'll show you how it is. Mo Shah, block the other 2 guys for me. Wang Xian growled and opened his eyes instantly. At this moment, his eyes were filled with blood. Boom! Waves of blood energy erupted from his body. The 5 elements crown on his head enlarged instantly and attacked Nangong Jungha. 5 elements millstone, obliterate. Wang Xian roared and flew toward the members of the Southern royal family. His blood was burning rapidly in his body. It turned into dragon energy and unleashed a terrifying attack. Wang Xian's arm turned into a dragon claw. The 5 elements millstone on his head turned into a radius of 5 kilometers. A gray beam of light shot toward Nangong Jungha. What? The sudden change alarmed everyone in Yingtian Peak. Nangong Jungha's expression changed drastically when he sensed Wang Xian's attack. Break for me. He raised his head and opened his mouth. A pillar of fire shot toward the 5 elements millstone. Oh no, let's escape. What a terrifying aura. Let's dodge. Let's dodge quickly. The sudden outbreak of the battle caused the expressions of the few factions around the Southern royal family to change drastically. They fled to the left and right in terror. This aura. When the Supreme Headmaster and Patriarch Fengqi saw Wang Xian attacking the Southern royal family, their expressions changed drastically. This time, a hint of shock appeared in their eyes. 5 elements millstone explode. Wang Xian, who was charging towards the Southern royal family, shouted again with a murderous aura. In the sky, another 5 elements millstone appeared. One was a Dharma idol and the other was a weapon. A destructive energy attacked the experts and disciples behind the Southern royal family. Run, this energy is not something you can resist. Only my sect attack. Southern Royal River revealed a panicked expression and shouted anxiously. Chapter 1604 1604 Battle of Madness 3 Attack. When the Supreme Headmaster and Patriarch Fengqi saw Nangong Jungha's plea for help, their expressions changed drastically. A huge green fan flew towards Wang Xian. Dense wind needles also flew towards Wang Xian. Are you looking down on me? Kiki. Mo Shah saw the 2 of them attacking and laughed out loud with a cold expression. He opened his arms. His body was covered in scales, and he looked like a devil. When he opened his arms, the dark power around him condensed into pitch-black dragon scales. The wind attribute and wind needles that were filled with destruction landed on the pitch-black dragon scales around Mo Shah. Kiki, awesome, powerful defense, this is awesome. The wind needles and wind rays that landed around Mo Shah immediately dissipated, causing an excited expression to appear on his face. Quick, quick, hide at the furthest place. Oh my god, the sky demon is actually on par with Nangong Jiangha. Hide at the furthest place. The sudden outbreak of the battle caused the other factions in the vast area to nearly wet their pants. Even the Wuji Empire's patriarch's expression changed drastically as he hurriedly led everyone from the Wuji Empire to fly towards the furthest edge of the array formation. They directly pulled apart a distance of 10 kilometers. The strongest expert of the other first-rate forces of the He clan also hurriedly led his clansmen to hide around Wuji Empire. Priest Wang's strength. Wu Qingcheng's face was filled with shock as he looked at the spot where the battle was taking place. He exclaimed in disbelief. 9th level of the profound void tier. This is definitely the destructive power of a 9th level of the profound void tier. The elder from the Wuji Empire roared in shock. The sky demon actually possessed the strength of a 9th level void interpretation. The people from all the surrounding factions were also filled with shock. No wonder they dared to not give any face to the only sect. If Bing Jian had married Priest Wang back then, the Ice Heart Empire would have been able to live in peace for at least 4,000 to 5,000 years. Now they actually... A series of shocked voices came from the surroundings. Everyone looked towards the location of the battle in fear. At this moment, screams of pain were heard. In the southern royal family which was targeted by Wang Xian, death had already begun. Hiss! The people from the southern royal family are going to be destroyed. The sky demon is simply too unbridled. The southern royal family wants to help Lone Sect. He immediately killed everyone from the southern royal family. This time, even the southern royal family has been kicked to the metal plate. Everyone's expression changed drastically when they heard these screams. Sky demon, you're courting death. Nangong Jiangha's furious roar sounded. His gaze swept across the southern royal family's location, and his eyes were blood red. He never expected that the sky demon actually possessed the strength of a 9th level void interpretation. If he knew, why would he make a move? But now there was no room for regret. Trash of the southern royal family, your southern royal disciple was killed by me, he. More than 1,000 years ago, your southern royal families, Nangong Shang, ambushed me and was killed by me. Nangong Shang, you damned fellow, caused me to be silent for more than 1,000 years. At this moment, Mo Shah's maniacal laughter came from the front. What? My father was killed by you. When Nangong Jiangha heard Mo Shah's words, he glared at him furiously. Damn it! Nangong Shang, that despicable fellow, launched a sneak attack on me. If it wasn't for my quick reaction, I would have died in the hands of your southern royal family. Mo Shah was also a little irritable and shouted directly. Haha, just in time. Let's have a battle today. Wang Xian laughed out loud with a ferocious expression. Roar! As he roared, his body transformed into a divine dragon that was 150 meters in size. The grayish mist emitted a bloody aura as it filled the surroundings. The 5 elements grinding mill above his head emitted a destructive aura. I would like to see if today's battle can destroy your solipsistic sect. Wang Xian was a little ferocious as he unleashed all the strength in his body without any restraint. Nearly 100,000 innocent people died because of him. He wanted to take revenge. Today he had already consumed the violent blood pill. He was already prepared to lose his body here. With his body he would destroy the entire sect. You. The Supreme Headmaster and Patriarch Feng Qi stared at Wang Xian and Mo Sha as their expressions changed drastically. Two experts at the 9th level of the see-through void tier were actually two experts at the 9th level of the see-through void tier. Even if they were to pull Nangong Jianghe along and fight 3 against 2, even if they were able to win, some of them might even die. As for the entire lone sect, their battle could only be carried out here since their array formation covered 108 mountains. However, once the formation was withdrawn, the Sky Demon and Mo Sha could leave easily. Jian, don't be afraid. With me around, no one can hurt you. Wang Xian's gaze swept across everyone. His dragon body moved and flew directly towards Ling Jian. Gulp. Ao Tian's face was filled with fear when he saw Wang Xian flying over. Tian, let's go. The sect master's wife immediately grabbed Ao Tian's arm and flew towards the back. At this moment, no one dared to stop Wang Xian. Buzz. Wang Xian's dragon claw extended towards Ling Jian. The restraints on her body were instantly removed. Wang Xian. Ling Jian opened her mouth. Her red eyes were filled with joy as she looked at him and landed in the middle of his dragon claw. Jian, don't worry. Wang Xian smiled and looked at Mo Sha. Mo Sha, I'll leave Jian to you. As long as she loses a single hair, you won't be able to live anymore. Don't worry, Boss Missouri with me, Mo Sha around. No one will be able to harm Miss Ling, Jian. Mo Sha patted his chest and promised. Turn off the formation. The Supreme Headmaster and Patriarch Feng Qi felt the aura from Wang Xian and Mo Sha and shouted in embarrassment. Buzz! 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 With the formation shut down, only the mountain range could enter and exit freely again. The formation is activated. Let's retreat. Only the sect has given in. They don't dare to fight here. Originally, only the sect wanted to use the formation to trap them and kill them. However, the Sky Demon now has the strength of a level 9 see-through void martial artist. It has completely exceeded the ability of only the sect to fight back. I didn't expect that the Sky Demon would actually win this confrontation. Moreover, after today, a 5th super force will appear in the vast area. All the forces revealed shocked expressions when they saw the formation break. Using the strength of 2 people, they made the only sect lower its head. You think that I will leave after opening the formation? Haha. If I leave, then what about the nearly 100,000 people who died because of me? Today, unless I die here, your sect will not be at peace. Wang Xian waved his dragon claw and sent Ling Jian to Mo Sha's side. His body was emitting a bloody and determined aura. He swept his gaze across everyone in the sect and roared with killing intent. His words caused everyone in the sect to have extremely gloomy expressions. It is easy to invite evil, but difficult to send evil. Chapter 1605. 1605 Battle of Madness 4. Within the Solitaire Mountains, the closure of the array formation represented the submission of the Solitaire sect. 2 experts at the 9th rank of the Profound Void tier were facing 2 experts at the 9th rank of the Profound Void tier from the Solitaire sect, as well as Nangong Jianghe from the Southern Royal Family. There were a total of 3 experts. 3 against 2. Even if they could win, the Solitaire sect and Nangong Jianghe would have to pay an extremely heavy price. This price would at the very least destroy more than half of the sect, and at the very most, kill an expert at level 9 of the see-through void stage. The price was not something that the sect could bear. However, what shocked all the experts and disciples of the sect and all the forces in the vast region was that Wang Xian was still staring at all the people of the sect with bloodlust and killing intent. Is he crazy? Unless he is injured here, he will not be able to bring peace to the sect. What is the Sky Demon trying to do? My God, injured? What does the Sky Demon mean? Other than killing him, will he not leave? Isn't this too violent? For the sake of nearly 100,000 people who died because of him, is the Sky Demon going to fight the sect to the death? In the surroundings, everyone's forces retreated to a place more than 10 kilometers away. Looking at the Sky Demon, who was still floating in the sky, each and every one of them revealed a horrified expression. The sect had already given in. What else did the Sky Demon want to do? Fight with his life. But was there a need for that? This was purely an act of suicide. Sky Demon, don't think that my sect is really afraid of you. The Supreme Headmaster roared at Wang Xian with an unsightly expression. His face was filled with fury. Streams of green wind whistled and condensed around him. It was like a sign formed by a hurricane. At the side, Patriarch Fengqi's expression kept changing as if he was making a huge decision. As for Nangong Jianghe, who was 1,000 meters away, his expression turned even darker. He never expected that the Sky Demon was also an expert at the 9th level of the see-through void tier. Furthermore, he killed all the experts and disciples of the Southern royal family in an extremely violent manner. He had killed them right in front of him. He clenched his teeth tightly as he looked at the crazy Sky Demon. He had never expected to provoke such a crazy person. Unfortunately, there was no room for regret. Also, there was that guy who killed his father. The killing intent on Nangong Jianghe's body became more and more serious. Haha, since you are not afraid, let's have a life and death battle. Haha, today I will make your lone sect fall into fear. Wang Xian stared at Patriarch Fengqi, the supreme sect leader, and laughed maniacally. He had already consumed the violent blood pill. Wang Xian was already prepared for his body to be damaged. Before he died, he would kill as many people as he could. After saying that, Wang Xian waved his dragon claw, and the 5 elements millstone appeared above his head. The 5 elements millstone within a radius of 6 kilometers was emitting destructive energy. Destroy! Wang Xian did not waste any more time talking to them. He raised his head and looked at the great mill of 5 elements in the sky. Then he shouted loudly. Buzz! Streams of terrifying energy headed straight for Ying Tian Peak. Good. Do you really think that we don't dare to fight you to the death? Since we are going to kill you, let's do it. We will not rest until one of us dies. Patriarch Fengqi, who was standing at the side, saw Wang Xian's attack. His eyes revealed a crazed look as he roared furiously. We will not rest until one of us is dead. Kill! The Supreme Headmaster's face was filled with malevolence as well. His tyrannical aura was completely unleashed. As a faction that had stood firm for tens of thousands of years, as a peerless expert who had cultivated to the 9th level of the see-through void tier, they had experienced many life and death battles throughout their lives. They would be filled with fear towards the Sky Demon and Mo Sha. However, the Sky Demon's continuous provocations and attacks had completely infuriated the 2 strongest experts of the sect. Their bodies were also emitting the aura of a life and death battle. Dharma idol, hurricane sweeping the world. Patriarch Fengqi let out a furious roar. A hurricane that reached to the sky instantly formed in front of him and headed toward the destructive force of the 5 elements' great mill. Dharma idol, heavenly wind turbulence. The Supreme Headmaster revealed a ruthless expression as he attacked Wang Xian directly. Gusts of heavenly wind turbulence covered an area of 10 kilometers. In this space, gusts of terrifying wind attribute tore apart the surrounding air. Even the air was rustling. Miss Ling Jian, be careful here. Boss Missouri, I'm coming. When Mo Sha saw that Wang Xian was prepared to fight to the death with the sect, he was a little shocked. However, Mo Sha, who had guessed it beforehand, was not too surprised. He moved his body and attacked the Supreme Sect leader directly. Nangong Jianghe, help us stop this old fellow. We will kill the Sky Demon and then kill him. Our supreme sect and the Southern royal family are completely united. When the supreme sect leader saw Mo Shah's attack, his expression changed slightly. He immediately shouted loudly, "Good, Mo Shah, I will definitely kill you for killing my father. Sky Demon, you killed a disciple of my Southern royal family. My Southern royal family will not rest until you die." Nangong Jianghe's expression changed drastically. A terrifying killing intent slowly shot out of his eyes as he coldly roared. If Mo Shah wasn't the person who killed his father, he might not have attacked. But now they were irreconcilable and would not rest until one of them was dead. Kill. Who was afraid of whom? Hiss, my God, they are really fighting. The battle between the 5 top-tier, profound void Tier 9 powerhouses has not happened for nearly 10,000 years, right? It has been over 10,000 years since such a terrifying battle broke out in the vast region. Why does this Sky Demon want to fight until one of them is dead? If they really fight, only my sect and the Southern royal family will win. In the distance, everyone looked at the battle that had completely erupted, and their faces were filled with shock. They once again retreated more than 10 kilometers. Such a terrifying battle would affect an area of at least 50 kilometers. Mo Shah, today I will personally take revenge for my father. Nangong Jianghe stared at Mo Shah, and he directly attacked with destructive flames. Dragon Kingdom in the palm. Dragon head under the heavens. 10,000-mile dragon body. Wang Xian let out a furious roar and unleashed all of his Dharma forms. The dragon claw, dragon head, and dragon body enlarged and transformed into a divine dragon beast that was about 10 kilometers long. 10 kilometers was 10,000 meters. A body that was 10,000 meters long was comparable to the size of a mountain peak in the Solitaire Mountains. Boom! Wang Xian waved his dragon claw and attacked the supreme sect leader and Elder Feng Qi with an attack that contained endless power. With a body of 10,000 meters, it is comparable to the giant beast of the mistress of the barren sea. When they saw Wang Xian in his complete form, the supreme sect leader and Elder Feng Qi's expressions changed slightly. All the forces that were watching in the surroundings were also filled with astonishment. His physique was too terrifying. Boom, boom, boom. Patriarch Feng Qi and the Supreme Headmaster dodged Wang Xian's dragon claw. That gigantic dragon claw landed on Yingtian Peak. The entire 10,000-meter tall peak collapsed immediately. Chapter 1606. 1606 Battle of Madness 5. Rumble. The 10,000-meter tall mountain collapsed. Looking from afar, it gave people a terrifying visual impact, especially the terrifying divine dragon in the sky that was 10,000 meters tall. The power of this body is too terrifying. Only the mountain peaks in my mountain range can leave a mark on it. Now it has collapsed directly. A body of 10,000 meters. The heavenly demon can actually transform into a body of 10,000 meters. I wonder which is more powerful, him or the goddess of desolation. The physical strength of the heavenly demon is very terrifying. However, I still feel that the goddess of desolation is more powerful. The strength of the giant beast of the goddess of desolation is the true destruction of the world. Also, the terrifying means of the goddess of desolation should be stronger than the heavenly demon. The various forces in the distance looked at Wang Xian's figure with shock on their faces. This 10,000-meter long body made everyone think of the goddess of desolation and the giant beast under her command. They were the same 10,000-meter long giant beast. The two of them made a comparison. Most of the experts still felt that the goddess of desolation was stronger. The means of the goddess of desolation were much stronger than the sky demon. Apocalyptic gale! Apocalyptic gale! An angry voice came out from the mouth of the Supreme Headmaster and Patriarch Feng Qi at the same time. Within a radius of more than 10 kilometers, terrifying wind blades descended from the sky and attacked Wang Xian's 10,000-meter tall body. 5 elements millstone defend! The 5 elements millstone above his head spun rapidly. A cloud of earth-like fog formed in the sky and completely covered the wind blades in the sky. Kill! Wang Xian opened his gigantic mouth. A wave of destructive energy shot forward directly. At the same time, his gigantic body collided with the Supreme Headmaster and Patriarch Fengqi. The Supreme Headmaster and Patriarch Fengqi were wind attribute cultivators. Their speed was already extremely terrifying. However, compared to Wang Xian, who moved 10,000 meters lightly, there was still a huge gap. Wind spear! The two of them had a slight change in expression. They hurriedly avoided the range of the destructive energy attack. A 5,000-meter-long sharp wind spear pierced straight at Wang Xian. Boom! 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 The destructive energy continued to attack forward. Behind them, the mountain peaks in the Solitaire Mountains collapsed. However, the two 5,000-meter-long wind spears pierced straight into Wang Xian's body, bringing with them a large amount of blood. The appearance of a 100-meter wound was not a serious injury to Wang Xian. Bzzz, bzzz. However, what shocked the Supreme Headmaster and Patriarch Fengqi was that the open wound was melting rapidly. The flesh and blood were melting and entering Wang Xian's body, turning into the purest energy. He seems to have consumed a forbidden elixir that uses the consumption of his body to increase his strength. Kill him, we can kill him. Patriarch Fengqi was the first to react. His eyes were filled with radiance as he roared. Kill! A hint of coldness flashed across the Supreme Headmaster's face. He waved the staff in his hand, and gusts of wind lances shot towards Wang Xian. Patriarch Fengqi held the huge fan with both hands and waved it forward. Roar! Roar! Faced with the attacks from the two of them, Wang Xian's eyes were filled with fury and viciousness. He completely ignored the attacks from the two of them. His huge body collided with them directly. This is bad. He wants to exchange injuries with us. The Supreme Headmaster's face changed drastically when he saw Wang Xian charging forward fearlessly. However, it was extremely difficult for them to dodge the attacks from his 10,000-meter-long body. The wind spear landed on Wang Xian's body, causing blood to splatter in all directions. Blood rained down onto the ground. Bang! The huge force collided with the Supreme Headmaster and Patriarch Fengqi. The two of them were like flies. Their faces turned extremely pale as they charged backward. Bang, bang, bang. After crashing through more than 10,000-meter-tall mountains, they finally stopped and spat out a mouthful of blood. Damn it, this fellow is fighting with us. He is using up his life force. Let's hide. Patriarch Fengqi's eyes flashed with a green light as he reminded the Supreme Headmaster. Yes. The Supreme Headmaster nodded his head. His expression changed slightly as he looked at Wang Xian, who was charging towards them. Whoosh! 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 The two of them moved and dodged to the left and right respectively. Boom! 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 The sound of collision rang out again. The mountain peaks within the mountain range were smashed into pieces. Go to hell! More than a dozen mountain peaks were smashed into pieces. The Supreme Headmaster and Patriarch Fengqi brandished their weapons. The huge spear landed on Wang Xian's body once again. It was 100 meters deep and fresh blood splattered everywhere. Roar, roar, dodge? Then I will attack the disciples of your sect. Wang Xian roared with a brutal look on his face. He swept his gaze across the area and attacked with the 5 elements grinding mill. He knew that he was definitely not a match for the Supreme Sect leader and Patriarch Fengqi. After consuming the explosive blood pill, he could only kill a few more people before he died. Damn it! All disciples of the Solitaire Sect, run. Run far away. Today, we will definitely kill the Sky Fiend. The Supreme Sect Master roared and warned all the disciples of the Solitaire Sect within a radius of dozens of kilometers. Boom, boom, boom. Ah! However, when a river of obliteration appeared, it directly attacked the disciples of the Solitaire Sect who had no time to dodge. The energy of the obliteration line killed thousands of disciples of the Solitaire Sect. The rest of the disciples of the Solitaire Sect fled into the distance quickly. What's going on? The Sky Fiend seems to be risking his life. Patriarch Feng Qi said that he took a forbidden pill and that he was consuming his life force. The Sky Fiend didn't seem to have such terrifying strength when he was in the Ice Heart dynasty. He might have used another method to reach such a level in such a short time. Look, the flesh and blood inside the Sky Demon's injuries are burning. The Sky Demon is using his life force to increase his strength. Everyone in the surroundings was staring at this battle, especially Wang Xian and the Lone Faction. Looking at the condition inside the Sky Demon's body, everyone was extremely astonished. The Sky Demon's strength seemed to have been forcefully increased through a forbidden method. No wonder the Supreme Sect Leader and Patriarch Feng Qi of our sect are confident in killing the Sky Demon. So that's the reason. The Elder from the Wuji Empire and the group of experts at level 8 of the See-Through Realm had already seen through the clues and whispered. However, I'm afraid that our sect will suffer a huge loss during this period. Some of the experts said the same thing. Interfere with him. We can't let him destroy our sect. The Supreme Headmaster shouted loudly. He flew to the back of Wang Xian and slashed at the terrifying wind blades. If you want to tie me down, trap me. Wang Xian saw the Supreme Headmaster flying to the back and set his eyes on Patriarch Feng Qi. The 5 elements grinding mill revolved rapidly and flew towards Patriarch Feng Qi. The 5 elements revolved and the strongest binding force landed directly on Patriarch Feng Qi. Chapter 1607. 1607. 1607. Oh no! Patriarch Feng Qi felt the energy that was confined around him, and a hint of fear appeared on his face. Annihilate! Wang Xian seized the opportunity and opened his mouth. A river of annihilation headed straight for Patriarch Feng Qi. Universe Wind. Wind shield, wind wall, traceless wind. Seeing the terrifying energy sweeping towards him, Patriarch Feng Qi's expression changed drastically. Waves of powerful defenses appeared directly in front of him. Go to hell! The Supreme Headmaster's face changed drastically when he saw Wang Xian using all his strength to attack Elder Feng Qi. He raised the wind attribute staff in his hand. A wind spear that was 20 meters thick appeared in the sky above him. Both of his hands attacked Wang Xian. The river of annihilation swept onto Elder Feng Qi's body. The wind attribute defense collapsed rapidly. Elder Feng Qi spat out blood and resisted desperately. The 20-meter thick spear landed on Wang Xian's body and penetrated 1,000 meters deep into his body. Fresh blood splattered in all directions as intense pain spread throughout his entire body. However, due to Wang Xian's terrifying body size, his injuries were not fatal. Wang Xian endured the intense pain in his body and charged straight at Patriarch Feng Qi. Boom! The tremendous energy coupled with his terrifying body sent Patriarch Feng Qi flying. One of his arms turned into a bloody mist after the collision. Hiss, as expected. The Sky Demon must have consumed a forbidden pill or used a forbidden spell. However, under the desperate situation of the Sky Demon, one of them might die. This is a life or death situation. It's really possible that one of them might be taken away. Everyone around was extremely shocked when they saw how Wang Xian was fighting for his life. The risk of a level 9 seeping void martial artist was extremely terrifying. If this goes on, I might die even if I can kill the sky demon. Patriarch Fengqi's expression changed drastically when he saw Wang Xian's crazed look. The Supreme Headmaster's expression didn't look good either. He looked to the side and saw Nangong Jianghe and Mo Sha fighting each other. Although Nangong Jianghe was at a disadvantage, his life wasn't in danger. It was impossible for him to help them. If another expert of the Southern Royal Family at level 9 of the see-through void tier arrives, he can definitely kill the sky demon quickly. The Supreme Headmaster growled with an extremely embarrassed expression. On the other hand, Patriarch Fengqi was dodging Wang Xian's attack in fear. The mountains of the lone sect collapsed one by one with a deafening sound. Half of the 108 mountains had collapsed. It's time to go to the Solitaire sect. Once I get those life stones from the Solitaire sect, Little Blue's strength will be greatly improved. At this moment, in a barren sea covered by black clouds, a woman with a beautiful figure like a goddess stood on the sea surface, emitting a mysterious energy. Her beautiful eyes looked ahead as she murmured, "Xiaolan, it's time for us to leave," she said softly. A pleasant voice sounded in the dark sea. Gulp, gulp, gulp. As soon as her voice faded, an incomparably huge figure slowly appeared on the surface of the sea. The figure was over 10,000 meters long. However, its width was also a terrifying 2,000 meters. Compared to Wang Xian's dragon head and body, which was 500 to 600 meters wide, this huge beast, which was 2,000 meters wide, looked even more terrifying. A special energy was emitted from its body. It was a grayish body shape. From afar, it looked like a planet that contained a terrifying energy. It emerged from the bottom of the sea and slowly opened its huge mouth. A huge abyss mouth that looked like a black hole appeared. It was so deep that one could not see the bottom. Even an expert at the insightful void tier would be terrified when they saw this scene. The huge mouth slowly enveloped the woman. An incomparably huge black hole door suddenly appeared in front of her. At this moment, in the sky over 10,000 kilometers away, a huge abyss mouth with a circumference of 3,000 meters appeared out of thin air in the sky. An incomparably huge figure directly blocked half of the sky. The huge beast appeared. It opened its huge mouth. In the center of the huge mouth, there was an incomparably mysterious woman floating. In less than 10 seconds, another black hole appeared in front of the giant beast. The giant beast entered the black hole and slowly disappeared. Every 10 seconds, it would travel over 10,000 kilometers. How terrifying! How terrifying! Boom, boom, boom! At the position of the lone sect, the terrifying battle continued. The towering and magnificent main peak of the lone sect collapsed under the collision of Wang Xian. The entire Solitaire sect was in a mess. It would take hundreds or even thousands of years for it to recover. Why isn't he dead yet? Why isn't he dead yet? His body size has clearly decreased to around 7,000 meters. The Supreme Chief and Patriarch Fengqi looked extremely embarrassed. The body size of the Sky Demon had decreased from over 10,000 meters to around 7,000 meters. However, his destructive power was still extremely terrifying. After 10 minutes of fighting, Patriarch Fengqi's body was covered in injuries. Not only did one of his arms disappear, even his chest had collapsed. If nothing goes wrong, the Sky Fiend will die, but Patriarch Fengqi will also be dragged down the abyss by the Sky Fiend. In the distance, all the factions in the vast region were watching this terrifying battle in utter shock. This battle was destined to shake the entire vast region. The Sky Devil would definitely die, but the ancestor of the Solecism sect would also die. Wang. At this moment, a huge black hole suddenly appeared in the sky. A barbaric aura directly came from within. The sudden change in the sky and that terrifying aura caused everyone's bodies to tremble. Even Mo Sha and Nangong Jiangha were shocked. They stopped fighting and looked at the sky. The mistress of the savage sea is here. The supreme headmaster and elder Feng Qi, who were hiding, moved when they saw the familiar black hole in the sky. Their faces were filled with excitement as they stared at the black hole. A familiar aura came rushing over and caused Wang Xian to stop moving. He looked at the black hole that had suddenly appeared in the sky, and his eyes were sparkling. Woo! A joyful voice was heard from within the black hole. The voice instantly resonated throughout the entire world. An incomparably huge gray head slowly emerged from the black hole. The head opened its mouth that seemed to be able to swallow a mountain. In the center of the mouth, there was a woman floating. It's the Desolation Goddess and her huge beast. My God, the Desolation Goddess is here. She's actually here. In the beginning, the Supreme Headmaster once said that the Desolation Goddess would come, but I didn't expect that she would really come now. Oh my God, this is too terrifying. She came out of the void directly. Sounds of shock came from everyone's mouth. The entire world was focused on the mysterious and powerful goddess of desolation. Ha ha ha, ha ha ha. Goddess of desolation, you are here. Help us kill this heavily injured sky demon. All the life stones of our sect will be given to you immediately. Furthermore, we promise that we will gather the strength of the entire sect to search for the life stones for the goddess of desolation in the future. The Supreme Hierarch's excited voice sounded. Patriarch Feng Qi looked over and heaved a heavy sigh of relief. With the arrival of the goddess of desolation, they would be saved. With the giant beast of the goddess of desolation, she could completely deal with the heavily injured sky fiend. Chapter 1608. 1608 shocked the world. It's over. The relationship between the goddess of desolation and the lone sect. The sky demon is doomed. This time, not only the sky demon is doomed, even the old man Mo Sha is in trouble. The goddess of desolation is too powerful. Sigh, brother Wang Xian. At the positions of the He clan and the Wuji Empire, when they saw the goddess of desolation suddenly appearing in the void and heard the voice of the supreme sect master, their faces revealed a helpless expression. The desolate goddess was an extremely mysterious woman who possessed an incomparably terrifying gigantic beast. After the desolate goddess appeared and destroyed a first-rate family, she was declared as the fourth largest superforce in the vast region. A human and a beast were considered superforces. One could imagine how much fear everyone had towards the desolate goddess. In fact, just now, everyone had compared the 10,000-meter body of the sky demon to the desolate goddess gigantic beast. In comparison, everyone still thought that the giant beast of the desolate goddess was more terrifying. Now, the sky demon's strength had greatly decreased, and with the arrival of the desolate goddess, it could easily punish the sky demon. This time, the sky demon's hope of sacrificing a level 9 profound void martial artist with his life is about to be lost. The elder of the Wuji Empire's level 8 profound void martial artist said with some disappointment. Wu Qing City watched helplessly from the side. As for He Yuan, He Sui Qing, and the rest, they let out an indignant and sorrowful sigh. Oh! The terrifying giant beast completely emerged from the black hole. His gigantic gray eyes looked at Wang Xian in the sky. There was some excitement in his eyes as he let out a cheerful voice once again. The moment he came out, he sensed that extremely familiar aura. That aura that was like his father. The huge beast Xiaolan. The mysterious woman who was floating in the middle of Xiaolan's huge mouth had naturally left the Dragon Palace. She was Lan Qingyue, who had left Wang Xian for more than 2 years. Lan Qingyue, who possessed the inheritance of the ancient god Kuan Feeding Master, had potential that was not inferior to the divine dragon inheritance. After the Dragon Palace, moved to the extraordinary continent. She led Little Blue on the path of the strong. This journey lasted for more than 2 years. Her strength had already reached the 8th level of the profound void tier. As for Little Blue, she was even stronger than her. Because of a coincidence, she found that the only sect had obtained a large number of life stones, so she wanted to obtain them from there. Little Blue's strength increased rapidly, so she needed more and more energy. However, as long as she could obtain the life stones from Only Me sect, she could greatly increase Little Blue's strength. She could even break through to the longevity realm, become a demigod, and become a space beast. As long as she obtained these life stones, Lan Qingyue decided to return to the Dragon Palace, her husband's side and her sister's side, back to her home. When she came out from the Kuin cave, a blood connection and a spiritual connection was immediately transmitted over. She ignored the figure of the Supreme Headmaster and the purpose of her visit. She quickly looked at that figure. Xiao Xian, husband. When Lan Qingyue saw the body of the divine dragon with attributes, 2 years of longing and 2 years of emotions made her burst out completely. Her body trembled slightly. However, when she sensed the condition of Wang Xian's body, her face instantly darkened. She felt heartache and a surge of anger. This was her husband. She had distanced herself from him in order to increase her strength so that she could fight alongside her husband and help him. Now that she saw that he was severely injured and could not even recover from it, the dignity and anger that she had accumulated over the past 2 years of training burst out completely. Female sovereign of the Wildland Sea, help us kill the sky demon first. Then kill this level 9 profound void martial artist. Our southern royal family promises to mobilize all our strength to help you find what you need. Nangong Jiangha, who is dozens of kilometers away from the battlefield, also hurriedly shouted. His face was also filled with excitement. The sky demon was heavily injured, and the wilderness goddess had descended. Once the wilderness goddess helped them, they would be able to easily destroy the sky demon. With the wilderness goddess' mysterious energy, she could definitely keep Mo Sha. Excitement, and fervor. Ha ha ha, wilderness goddess. Our 2 superpowers have promised that as long as you help us, we will definitely repay you tenfold. When the Supreme Sect Master heard the promise from the Southern Royal Family, he also roared with excitement. Previously, he was able to use the life stone to invite the barbarian goddess. This time around, he was confident that he could get her to help them. That's great, the barbarian goddess is here. Kill the sky demon, kill the sky demon. At this moment, Ao Tian also roared in a low and savage voice. Because of the woman he liked, the only sect had fallen into this situation. After this matter was over, he would definitely be a sinner of the lone sect. However, as long as he killed the sky demon, he would be able to reduce his crimes. It's over. The 2 superpowers have made a huge promise to invite them, and with the relationship between the wilderness goddess and them, the sky demon and the elder might be left behind. The sky demon and the other peerless expert should have left long ago. Now, with the wilderness goddess strange methods, it will be difficult for them to escape. When the surrounding forces saw this scene, they thought to themselves, Xiao Xian. When Lan Qingyue heard the words of the Supreme Headmaster and Nangong Jiangha, her body trembled slightly and she clenched her fists tightly. She opened her mouth and called out gently to Wang Xian. Her voice instantly resounded throughout the entire world. Xiao Xian. The gentle call stunned the excited Supreme Headmaster and everyone from the sect. Everyone around was also stunned. Husband, Wu. Another voice was heard along with the cheers of the terrifying giant beast. Xiao Lan brought the wilderness goddess and flew slowly towards the sky demon. Xiao Lan's huge figure moved and came directly in front of Wang Xian. She used her head to touch Wang Xian gently in an attempt to please him. Lan Qingyue gently caressed Wang Xian's huge dragon head. A mysterious energy entered Wang Xian's body and healed his injuries. However, at this moment, the entire world seemed to have turned silent. Everyone was looking at the scene in disbelief. Husband. These two words resonated deeply in everyone's mind like thunder. The sky demon, the saint of light, and the priest. Everyone knew that his real name was Wang Xian. Shao Xian was such an affectionate name. Husband. This was a form of address between husband and wife. The sky demon was the husband of the wilderness goddess, and the wife of the sky demon. What the fuck? Shocking. Cough, cough. Qingyue, it's been more than 2 years. Did you miss me? Wang Xian looked at Lan Qingyue's sudden appearance. He was also a little surprised and pleasantly surprised. His figure moved and transformed into a human form. He gently touched her face, and his face was full of smiles. Chapter 1609. 1609 World Shocking 2. How is this possible? How is this possible? How can the mistress of the savage be the wife of a sky fiend? Impossible, absolutely impossible. It must be an illusion. The supreme hierarch, Patriarch Fengqi, and everyone from the entire lone sect stared at this scene in disbelief. They couldn't believe it. They couldn't believe it. They had originally thought that the arrival of the wilderness goddess would help lone sect. But now the wilderness goddess was the wife of a sky fiend. Looking at the way they were in love, what would the consequences be? Everyone could imagine it. Cough, cough. Oh my God, I thought the end of the sky fiend was coming. Now. Everyone around was also watching in shock. They had thought that the arrival of the wilderness goddess was the end of the sky demon. However, they had never expected that the wilderness goddess was the woman of the sky demon. Just now, they had been discussing which of the wilderness goddess beasts was more powerful compared to the sky demon. It was widely believed that the beasts were more powerful. However, looking at the 10,000-meter-long beast, it kept rubbing against the sky demon's body as if it was trying to please it. This fuck, it felt as if the sky demon was the giant beast's father. Thinking about it, it made sense. The wilderness goddess was the giant beast's master, a mother-like existence, and the sky demon was its father-like existence. What was there to compare between a son and a father? Thinking of this, the corners of everyone's mouths couldn't help but twitch. I originally thought that Xiaolan would return home after increasing her strength. I didn't expect to meet Shao Xian here. Your injuries are very serious. Leave the rest to me. I left these 2 years because I didn't want to drag you down. I wanted to fight alongside you. Lan Qingyue leaned on Wang Xian's body gently and said excitedly, "The peerless battle in the vast region has turned into a scene where couples meet and show off their love. He he he." At the side, Mo Sha was also looking at this scene with a stunned expression. On the contrary, he was in a very good mood as he exclaimed. He didn't expect Boss Missouri to be so awesome. Even the goddess of the wilderness was his wife. He couldn't help but admire her. When the surrounding sects and Nanhuang, Jianghe, heard the words of the goddess of the wilderness, they revealed an embarrassed expression. I know the situation inside my body. Today, I will definitely be injured. Bring Ling Jian back to the Dragon Palace. Wang Xian said to Lan Qingyue. Lose my body. Lan Qingyue's expression changed drastically. A terrifying killing intent was slowly emitted from her body. Shao Xian, I will help you kill them. He, killing one is enough. Wang Xian shook his head. With a wave of his arm, he pulled Ling Jian over from afar. Wang Xian. Looking at Wang Xian, Ling Jian, Yar's face was filled with worry. She wanted to reach out her hand, but after looking at Lan Qingyue, she still didn't have the courage. Qingyue, protect her well. Wang Xian spoke to Lan Qingyue as he slowly looked at the Supreme Headmaster and Patriarch Fengqi in the sky. Qinghua, help me stop the Supreme Headmaster. I will kill another person. Wang Xian spoke in a deep voice with a face full of killing intent. It's Xiao Xian. Don't worry. Lan Qinghua nodded with a gloomy face. She could already sense Wang Xian's determination. She could also sense that the blood essence in his body was disappearing rapidly. Even though she knew that Wang Xian could still be resurrected in the Dragon Palace, her heart was still filled with anger. The aura of a powerhouse was completely released. Wu, sensing the murderous aura of Wang Xian and Lan Qinghua, a savage aura spread out from Xiaolan's body. Haha, today, I, Wang Xian, will definitely lose my life in your sect. However, before I lose my life, I will also take one of you with me. I will also cause your sect to suffer heavy losses. I will make you pay a heavy price for what you have done. Wang Xian stared at the supreme sect leader and Elder Feng Qi. A maniacal smile appeared on his face as the killing intent from his body surged rapidly. Today we will collect some interest. Soon, I, Lan Qinghua, will exterminate your sect. Lan Qinghua stood beside Wang Xian and shouted with a similarly cold gaze. Lunatic! This lunatic! He is a complete lunatic! When the Supreme Headmaster, Elder Feng Qi, and everyone from the sect heard what Wang Xian and Lan Qinghua said, their faces turned extremely ugly. This was especially so for Wang Xian's determination to die. Even if he was injured, he had to take one of them with him. If he wasn't a madman, he definitely wouldn't do such a thing. The heavenly demon fruit has really used a taboo. Once it is used, one might die. That should be the case. The heavenly demons are really crazy. They are completely risking their lives. If the heavenly demons don't die today, they will be the strongest force in the vast region in the future. Voices of discussion could be heard from the surroundings. Haha, kill. At this moment, a wild voice filled with killing intent could be heard. Roar. Wang Xian immediately transformed into a 150-meter-long 5 elements divine dragon and attacked Patriarch Feng Qi directly. Kill. Lan Qinghua grabbed Ling Jian, Yar's hand, and roared furiously as well. Woo woo woo. A terrifying roar came out of Xiaolan's mouth. Sensing its master's fury, its huge body charged towards the Supreme Headmaster. Feng Qi, be careful! The Supreme Headmaster looked at the Sky Demon and the Barbarian Goddess with an extremely embarrassed expression and roared loudly. The battle erupted once again. However, this time it was a one-on-one battle. Great grinding of the 5 elements annihilate. Wang Xian roared and locked onto Patriarch Feng Qi completely. Now that Patriarch Feng Qi was injured, his strength was less than half. Wang Xian was also injured. However, he was confident that he could kill Patriarch Feng Qi before he was injured. Bastard, bastard. Patriarch Feng Qi looked at Wang Xian, who was charging at him with a hint of fear in his eyes. This sky fiend wanted to perish together with him. However, he didn't want to die. Buzz. Streams of destructive energy swept past. Wang Xian's body charged towards Patriarch Feng Qi. Save me! When Patriarch Feng Qi saw how desperate the sky fiend was, he immediately fled into the distance and shouted at the Supreme Headmaster. Get lost! The Supreme Headmaster had no time to bother with Patriarch Feng Qi. Looking at Xiaolan, who was charging towards him, he waved his arm. Terrifying wind spears attacked Little Blue's body. The wind spears entered Little Blue's body, but they only broke through 12 meters deep. Compared to its 10,000 meters long and 2,000 meters wide body, this injury was negligible. What a terrifying defense! Even when I was at my peak, it was difficult to kill it. The Supreme Headmaster's face darkened when he saw the wounds on Xiaolan's body. If you want to escape, stay here. Bind him. Wang Xian's cold voice came from the side. The 5 elements millstone came to the sky above Patriarch Feng-Chi. The strongest binding force of the 5 elements trapped him. His body rushed over and grabbed at him with his sharp dragon claws. Chapter 1610. 1610 World-Shaking 3. I'm going to fight it out with you. When Patriarch Feng-Chi saw Wang Xian's devouring gaze, a look of despair appeared on his face. Green light seeped out from his entire body, and he raised the huge fan in his hand high up. Feathers gathered on the fan and flew towards Wang Xian heavily. The wind feathers that were like thorns instantly covered an area of 10 kilometers. Patriarch Feng-Chi unleashed his strongest attack without holding back. At this stage, he could only go all out. This is more interesting. The appearance of Lan Qingyue made Wang Xian completely relaxed. Next, he only had to go all out to kill Patriarch Feng-Chi. Then he would succeed. Wang Xian's dragon claws contained a grayish energy. His body completely ignored Feng Yu's attack. Countless feathers landed on Wang Xian's dragon body, causing his entire body to be drenched in blood. However, he did not resist at all. Instead, he placed all his strength on his dragon claws. "You're a lunatic, you're a lunatic." The elder looked at Wang Xian's determination with extreme fear on his face. He could not understand why a young demon would want to go against his old bones. You still have 4,000 to 5,000 years of life left. Why would you want to go against someone like me who only has a few hundred years of life left? Go to hell. Wang Xian roared with a ferocious look on his face. He clawed at Patriarch Feng-Chi's body with his dragon claws. Go to hell, too. Crippled wind slash. Patriarch Feng-Chi's face turned ferocious as well. He waved the huge fan in his hand like a ferocious ghost. A green broken sword that was at least 2,000 meters in size slashed towards Wang Xian's body. The two of them were completely carrying out their final attack. Explode! The dragon claw held onto Elder Feng-Chi's body. The destructive power of the 5 elements that was brewing within it caused Elder Feng-Chi's expression to change drastically. Ah! A tremendous pain came from his mouth. However, at the spot above Wang Xian, the huge wind slash caused his dragon body to be cut in half. Ha ha ha! I, Wang Xian, will return again. Next time, the entire vast area will be under my feet. Wang Xian could feel his vitality disappearing rapidly. When he saw that Patriarch Feng-Chi in front of him was completely dead, he laughed out loud. His body fell towards the spot below. Xiao Xian! Seeing that Wang Xian was injured, Lan Qingyue's eyes turned slightly red. Wang Xian! Ling Jian cried out in pain instantly. Buzz, buzz, buzz! Lan Qingyue waved her arm with an embarrassed expression. The 5 elements in the sky turned into a crown of 5 elements and flew into her hand. Wang Xian's dragon body was directly stored into the interspatial ring. Xiao Lan, destroy! Lan Qingyue roared furiously. Even though she knew that Wang Xian could be resurrected, she was still extremely furious when she saw her beloved being killed. Woo, woo, woo! Xiao Lan let out a roar. Her gigantic body was like a meteorite crashing into a planet, crashing downwards. Her body was emitting a grayish energy. Boom, boom, boom. A series of explosions could be heard. The entire Lone Mountain range had 108 mountains, each of which was 10,000 meters in size. However, under Little Blue's impact, they were like small saplings as they quickly collapsed. Feng-Chi. Patriarch Feng-Chi. Patriarch. However, when the supreme sect leader of the lone sect, all the experts and disciples, saw Patriarch Feng-Chi's death, they also roared in fear. Damn it, barbarian goddess, stop! The supreme sect leader looked extremely embarrassed when he saw Xiao Lan's terrifying destructive power. The entire Supreme Sect was the foundation and base of the Supreme Sect for tens of thousands of years. This was a terrifying paradise for wind attribute cultivators. Because of the existence of these green mountains, the Supreme Sect was able to produce an endless stream of experts. However, once the place where the sect was established was destroyed, their foundation would lose 70 to 80%. In particular, there was also the death of a 9th-level profound void tier sect's guardian expert. However, facing the savage, beast-like Little Blue, the Supreme Sect leader didn't dare to face her head-on. With this 10,000-meter-long body, firm defense, and terrifying strength, who at the same level could withstand it? The Supreme Headmaster could only continue to attack from the side. It's over, it's over. Our sect's losses this time are too great. Why would our sect provoke such a person? If young Master Aotian didn't fight with the Sky Demon for the woman, our sect wouldn't be in such a miserable state. Looking at the fall of Patriarch Feng Qi and the destructive power of the savage beast, all the disciples and powerhouses of the sect were terrified. At this moment, they didn't have the slightest aura of being the Supreme Sect. After today, their Supreme Sect would become the weakest among the 3 superforces. Moreover, outside, they even had 2 mortal enemies of the 9th level of the profound void tier. Mo Shah and the Savage Goddess. Savage Goddess, if you dare to destroy again, then don't even think about leaving today. The Supreme Sect leader saw that 80 to 90 of the 108 mountains had collapsed. His face was blood red as he roared. At this moment, his hair was disheveled and he looked wretched and ferocious. Supreme Sect leader, do you really think that I'm afraid of you? Lan Qingyue stared at the Supreme Sect leader and shouted with a frosty expression, Madam Devil, quit while you're ahead. Let's go. At this moment, Mo Shah, who was fighting with Nangong Jianghe, suddenly felt a pain in his heart. He was shocked and quickly said, Huh. Lan Qingyue hesitated for a moment and stared at the Supreme Headmaster coldly. She slowly glanced at everyone around her. Listen up, my sect. We will return soon and completely destroy you, she said with a cold expression. Little Blue. With a light shout, Little Blue stopped and slowly opened her huge mouth. Madame Mo, wait for me. Mo Shah hurriedly came to Lan Qingyue's side. Lan Qingyue looked at Mo Shah and looked coldly at everyone in front of her. A black hole appeared in the sky out of thin air. Woo woo! Little Blue cried out as her huge mouth enveloped Lan Qingyue, Ling Jian, and Mo Shah within. The 10,000-meter-long body slowly entered the black hole. It's too terrifying. The Sky Devil has fallen. Patriarch Feng Qi of our sect has fallen. An entire sect has been reduced to ruins. Heavens! The curtain has fallen. Who would have thought that such a situation would occur? Heavens! 2 of the strongest experts in the vast region have fallen. Today's battle is destined to shake the entire vast region. Sky Devil and Mo Shah, Lone Sect, Southern Royal Family, the Wilderness Goddess. Looking at the black hole that was slowly disappearing, all the factions were extremely shocked. Chapter 1611 1611 World Shaking 4 The Fall of the Sky Demon. The Fall of Patriarch Feng Qi. With the fall of 2 top-notch experts and the intervention of the barbarian goddess, more than half of the land where the sect was established was destroyed. Everything that happened today would definitely shake the entire vast region. Brother Wang Xian said that he will return. Is he still alive? At the He clan's position, Yuan looked at the sky where the black hole had disappeared and mumbled. This is impossible. Wang Xian has indeed lost all his life force. Even a powerhouse in the realm of longevity would not be able to resurrect under such circumstances. The He clan's elder shook his head and sighed slightly. The lone sect thought that they were very powerful and killed nearly 100,000 people, who were cured by Priest Wang. In the end, they didn't expect that Priest Wang would be so crazy, fighting with their lives. This time, the cult of solipsism suffered a terrible loss. A young master of Ao Tian wanted to fight for a woman, causing the entire cult of solipsism to fall into a crisis. How ironic. The Southern royal family is really miserable. They also got involved in this mess. Unfortunately, they failed to get what they wanted. Hundreds of experts and core disciples of the Southern royal family were killed. The people of the Wuji Empire were chatting with smiles on their faces. They were very happy to see the strength of the Southern royal family and the solipsistic sect weakened. As they spoke, they swept their eyes across the entire solipsistic sect and left. Let's go. If the sky demon really falls, just as the wilderness goddess said, she will come back to take revenge. If she provokes an expert like the wilderness goddess who has a mysterious energy, the life of the solipsistic sect will not be easy in the future. Some factions hesitated for a moment. They looked at the ruined sect and left immediately. After today, our sect's strength would be greatly reduced. 2 powerful warriors from the Array sect had fallen, and they had also provoked the powerful goddess of desolation. There was a high chance that our sect would fall in the future. All the factions left, leaving behind a few 100,000 disciples from our sect. The supreme sect leader's face was gloomy as he floated in the sky, breathing heavily as he looked at the collapsed peaks. The main peak had also collapsed, leaving only 20 peaks standing in the distance. Bing Fa Wu and Bingjing Huan stood there in a daze, their eyes a little dazed. Their Icy Heart Empire wanted to obtain more benefits by marrying Ling Jian to the Lone Sect. In the end, the Ice Heart Empire was destroyed. Originally, they still had hope of reviving their empire by relying on the Soul Heart Sect. Now, even their backer, the Soul Heart Sect that they had always wanted to curry favor with, had been completely wiped out by the Sky Demon. If it was back then, it was a pity that it wasn't back then. It's over, it's completely over. They knew that the Soul Heart Sect no longer cared about them. The Ice Heart Empire was finished, and they were also completely finished. It's all young Master Ao Tian's fault. If it wasn't for him... This voice sounded again around the only sect. If it wasn't for young Master Ao Tian's lust for beauty and forcefully taking Priest Wang's lover away, things wouldn't have fallen to such a state. At the side, Ao Tian's body trembled when he heard this, and his expression was extremely unsightly. Because of a woman, it almost destroyed the only sect. Madam Devil, why do I feel my heart beating rapidly as if it is trying to break free from my body? I, Mo Shah, don't want to die. Hurry and go to the God Country ruins. Boss Devil has arranged for his men to wait for me there. My heart is still there. At this moment, Mo Shah, who had followed Lan Qingyue, screamed in fear when he passed through the black hole and appeared 10,000 meters away. During the battle earlier, he had told Lan Qingyue to leave as soon as possible because of this reason. The heart of light and darkness seemed to be about to break free from his body and fly away. Fuck, if he flew away, wouldn't he die? This made Mo Shah almost cry. What arrangements does little Xian have? Lan Qingyue asked Mo Shah expressionlessly. Boss Missouri originally ordered me to bring Miss Jen to the God Country ruins after his death and then escort them to the Flowing Sea region. Once the mission is completed, Boss Missouri will return the heart and give me my freedom. Now, Madam Boss Missouri, what do you think? Mo Shah said to Lan Qingyue with a bitter face. Let's go. Lan Qingyue nodded and targeted the God Country ruins. Look, what's that in the sky? Did something happen inside the ruins of the Divine Kingdom? When the black hole appeared in the sky above the ruins of the Divine Kingdom, some people felt the impact of a barbaric aura and looked shocked. Disciples of the Dragon Palace, come here quickly. Little Blue's huge figure slowly appeared. Lan Qingyue floated in Little Blue's mouth and shouted at the people below, "It's the Dragon Queen!" In a manner in the divine kingdom, all the members of the Dragon Palace raised their heads and looked at Little Blue in the sky. Their eyes flashed with a bright light. Dragon Queen! It seems to be the wilderness goddess. Sect Leaderling also raised his head. When he saw the black hole in the sky and the terrifying giant beast, his face was filled with shock. Sect Leaderling, it's our Dragon Queen. We'll go over immediately. The civil officials of the Dragon Palace shouted at Sect Leaderling and immediately flew into the sky. I know, that's the wilderness goddess. That giant beast is the wilderness goddess giant beast. What a powerful giant beast. This is too powerful. What is that black hole? Shocked voices rang out in the surroundings. Everyone in the ruins of the divine kingdom looked towards the sky. Jian. Sect Master Ling flew into the sky and saw Ling Jian, Yar's figure. His face revealed an excited expression. Greetings, Dragon Empress. All the members of the Dragon Palace flew into the sky and immediately bowed towards Lan Qingyue. Return to the Dragon Palace, Lan Qingyue said, and a black hole appeared in front of her. Madam Devil, give me back my heart first. Mo Shah held his chest and said with a bitter face, Buzz. At this moment, Little Blue entered the black hole and disappeared, leaving everyone in the God Country ruins with shocked faces. She reappeared more than 10,000 kilometers away. I can't take it anymore. I can't take it anymore. My heart belongs to Madame Mo. It wants to run now. Quick, give me my heart. Madame Mo, please. Mo Shah shouted loudly. Lan Qingyue looked at the members of the Dragon Palace. Dig out our Dragon King's heart. This heart is for you. Ao Yao took out Mo Shah's heart and handed it to him. Okay. Mo Shah gritted his teeth and looked at his heart with a dark face. He closed his eyes and dug it out. Buzz. After the heart of light and darkness was dug out, it flew toward the Dragon Palace in the Luhai region. Lan Qingyue stared at the heart that flew away with a smile on her face. My task has been completed. Can I leave now? Seeing that his heart was back, Mo Shah heaved a sigh of relief and said, Yes. Ao Yao nodded and returned the heart to him according to the order of the Dragon King. Chapter 1612. 12 entered the vast region. Kiki, I've finally recovered. I've finally been free. It's been more than 1,000 years, a whole 1,000 years. I came here from the Empire. I originally wanted to find a way to break through the longevity realm, but I've been trapped here for more than 1,000 years. Kiki, but my efforts have not let me down. Although I've been thinking about how to get the heart these past few days and haven't found a way, I've found a way to cultivate from within. Kiki, relying on that heart's understanding of darkness, I have at least increased by dozens of times. Long life can be extended. Long life can be extended. In the vast and boundless void, Mo Shah saw the huge beast leave. His face revealed an excited expression as he laughed wildly. More than 1,000 years of pain, in exchange for his strength rising to another level. It was completely worth it. Kiki, next, I will stand at the peak of the extraordinary continent. He flew into the distance with excitement. In the vast void of the vast continent, Little Blue led Lan Qingyue and the others as they quickly headed towards the flowing sea region. Every 10 seconds, they would travel tens of thousands of kilometers. A journey of hundreds of thousands of kilometers did not require too much time for them. In fact, if they kept using it, they would be able to arrive in a few minutes. However, Xiao Lan's ability could not be used consecutively. It would take a few hours to recover after using it 10 times. At this moment, when Wang Xian was injured, the entire Dragon Palace could sense it completely. The expressions of all the members of the Dragon Palace changed drastically. Guan, Shuqing, Xiao Yu and the other girls gathered in the Dragon King Hall with anxious expressions. They looked at a fruit on the soul-returning wood with a worried expression. The fruit was in the shape of a dragon, and it was emitting a powerful energy. All the leaders of the Dragon Palace were gathered in front. Prime Minister Gui, what should we do now? Quickly resurrect Xiao Xian. The girls said to Prime Minister Gui with anxious expressions. Reporting to the Dragon Queen, according to my investigation, the Dragon King has reached the 4th level of the profound void martial stage, and is comparable to an expert at the 8th level of the profound void martial stage. The energy required to resurrect the Dragon King is too huge. There is not enough energy in the dragon pool to support His Majesty the Dragon King's rebirth. Prime Minister Gui said with a slightly embarrassed expression. Then what should we do? Let's go look for Sister Fenghuan. She should have a lot of resources in her hands. I have already informed Sister Fenghuan. She is rushing over quickly. A few girls said anxiously, My sisters, what happened to Wang Xian? At this moment, Fenghuan, who was wearing a fiery red phoenix robe and a crown on her head, flew over quickly. She asked anxiously, Sister Fenghuan, Xiao Xian has fallen outside. She needs a huge amount of resources to revive. Guan Shuqing and the other girls walked over immediately and said with slightly red eyes, Fallen. Fenghuan's expression changed slightly and a hint of anger flashed in her eyes. How many resources do you need? I'll use the resources of the entire Dragon and Phoenix Empire to revive Wang Xian as soon as possible. Fenghuan said immediately. Swoosh! Just as they were conversing, the heart of light and darkness suddenly flew into the Dragon Palace. The heart came to the top of the dragon pool at a terrifying speed and floated quietly on it. What's that? Everyone in the Dragon Palace was slightly shocked and quickly looked at the heart of light and darkness. There's the aura of a little immortal on it. The girls sensed and exclaimed, The heart. That should be the Dragon King's heart. We should gather resources now and prepare for the Dragon King's resurrection. Prime Minister Gui immediately said. Fenghuan didn't hesitate and immediately notified him. In an instant, the entire Dragon and Phoenix Empire started to operate. The current flowing sea region, which was more than 200,000 kilometers wide, was completely ruled by the Dragon and Phoenix Empire. A single order from Fenghuan could decide the life and death of tens of billions of people. Buzz. Reporting to the Dragon Queen, reporting to Prime Minister Gui, a terrifying giant beast has suddenly appeared. There's a familiar aura on it. 2 hours later, the Yiksha's anxious voice sounded. Sisters. Lan Qingyue's voice sounded. It's the Dragon Queen. Put away your weapons. Greetings, Dragon Queen. The Yiksha's voice came from the sea. It's Qingyue. Qingyue is back. The girls in the Dragon Palace were surprised and immediately looked up. What a huge body. Is this Xiaolan? A huge figure appeared in the sky above the Dragon Palace. The girls looked at Xiaolan with shock on their faces. This aura. Fenghuan's pupils constricted slightly as she stared at Xiaolan with a serious face. 9th level of the Void Interpretation Realm. I didn't expect Xiaolan to reach the 9th level of the Void Interpretation Realm less than 3 years after Sister Qingyu left. She took a deep breath and looked shocked. Because of the Dragon Pond, Fenghuan had already reached 7th level Void Interpretation. After transforming into a phoenix, she could fight against 9th level Void Interpretation. But she had reincarnated and recultivated. Miss Jian, and Sect Masterling, Ao Yao and Ao Jian are also here. Prime Minister Gui looked over and showed a trace of surprise. Sisters, let's catch up later. Xiao Xian has already prepared the resources that he needs to be resurrected before he dies. I have also collected her body. Lan Qingyue entered the Dragon Palace and immediately walked towards the dragon pool. That's great. Let's go there immediately. The group of girls immediately walked towards the dragon pool. Ao, Jian, and Ao Yao flew over and placed all the resources in front of the dragon pool to be absorbed. At the same time, Prime Minister Gui plucked Wang Xian's soul-returning fruit and placed it into the dragon pool. Dragon blood, soul-returning fruit, heart of light and darkness, 5 elements crown. Finally, Wang Xian's dragon body was placed into the dragon pool. Buzz! In an instant, a strong energy gathered in the dragon pool. 5 elements power, light and darkness power. Phew! These resources should be enough for Little Immortal to recover completely. Lan Qingyue heaved a heavy sigh of relief. Other than the 5 elemental powers, why does Wang Xian have the powers of light and darkness? What exactly happened? With Wang Xian's current strength, he should be a top-notch expert even in the vast region. Feng Wan stood at the side and said with a frown, I don't know much. It was purely an accident that I met little Xian. Lan Qingyue shook her head and looked at Ao Jian. Dragon Queen. Ao Jian cupped his hands and told her everything he knew. The southern royal family of my sect. Anger appeared in the girls' eyes when they heard Ao Jian's words. It seems that it's time to march into the vast area. Feng Wan murmured with a hint of killing intent in her eyes. The Dragon Palace's development speed in the flowing sea area has slowed down. The vast area is a good choice. Prime Minister Gui narrowed his eyes and glanced at all the leaders of the Dragon Palace and the Dragon Queens. With the blue-green moon Dragon Queen and the Phoenix Emperor, their arrival in the vast area was intimidating. Chapter 1613. 1613 entered the vast area. Prime Minister Gui, how is the strength of the Dragon Palace now? If the Dragon Phoenix Empire and the Dragon Palace join forces, can we establish a foothold? In front of the Dragon Pond, all the leaders of the Dragon Palace were standing around. Feng Wan glanced at all the disciples of the Dragon Palace and asked Prime Minister Gui, in the Dragon Palace, there are 3 people with rank 8 void interpretation, 7 with rank 7 void interpretation, 20 with rank 6 void interpretation, 30 with rank 5 void interpretation, 50 with rank 4 void interpretation, 2,000 with rank 3 void interpretation, and about 5,000 with rank 2 void interpretation. Prime Minister Gui said, the current Dragon Palace had more than 17,000 members. After ruling the flowing sea region, the demonic Lin clan joined and turned into the Fire Phoenix Dragon Seed, adding many experts to the Dragon Palace. The 2 leaders of the Fire Phoenix Dragon Seed, in particular, had a cultivation base of level 6 of the Profound Void tier. Now that they had broken through to level 7 of the Profound Void tier, they had the combat strength of level 8 of the Profound Void tier. With the current strength of the Dragon Palace, including Lan Qingyue, they were definitely a super force in the vast area. Especially the number of experts at the Profound Void martial stage in the Dragon Palace had reached more than 7,000. There were only 5,000 to 6,000 experts at the Profound Void martial stage in the Lone Sect, the Wuji Empire, and the Southern Royal Family. There are 4,000 to 5,000 experts at the Profound Void martial stage in the Dragon and Phoenix Empire, but there aren't any at rank 8 of the Profound Void martial stage yet. There are only 1 or 2 at rank 7 of the Profound Void martial stage, including me. Feng Wan said to Prime Minister Gui, there were so many Profound Void realm experts in the current Dragon and Phoenix Empire, and most of them came from the Demon Beast clan. The entire flowing sea region, including the sea region, had an area of more than 300,000 kilometers. 4,000 to 5,000 Profound Void realm experts weren't a lot. Moreover, only about half of these 4,000 to 5,000 Profound Void realm experts belonged to the Dragon and Phoenix Empire. The rest belonged to the various great clans and sections. Because the period of rule was too short, there was no guarantee that they would have 100% loyalty. It's enough. Let's first form the vanguard battle team. Prime Minister Juai nodded and said thoughtfully, according to the information in the vast area, the Dragon King once destroyed an empire in the vast area. At this time, that empire has not been occupied by anyone. We can temporarily occupy that empire and use it as a base to prepare for ruling the entire vast area. Feng Luan nodded when she heard Prime Minister Gui's words. If we want to occupy that place, we might need Sister Qingyue's help. Yes, only with the Dragon Queen's help can we smoothly occupy it and intimidate the other forces. Prime Minister Gui nodded and looked at Lan Qingyue. Okay. Lan Qingyue looked at them and nodded. Then she turned to the dragon pond. I wonder when little Xian will be able to resurrect. The resurrection of the Dragon King may take a few months. During this time, we should make some preparations. It's best if we march into the vast area after the Dragon King resurrects. Feng Luan also looked at the dragon pool. She sighed and said slowly. Prime Minister Gui also nodded his head. The Dragon King was the backbone of the entire Dragon Palace. Although Prime Minister Gui had great authority, there were still some matters that required the Dragon King's presence. Even now, Feng Luan had unknowingly treated Wang Xian as a pillar of support and backbone. All the leaders of the Dragon Palace were standing in front of the Dragon Pool, waiting for the resurrection of the Dragon King. Guan Shuqing and the rest had been chatting with Ling Jianyar. They talked about Ling Jianyar's past and how Wang Xian had set foot in the vast region in order to find her. Although Ling Jianyar had completely forgotten about everyone, she gradually understood that she had forgotten about her past because she had cultivated the heartless sword principle. She began to accept everything and her father. When Guan Shuqing and the rest saw Ling Jianyar's appearance, they heaved a sigh of relief. I've fallen. Am I being resurrected in the dragon pool now? Time passed slowly. A month later, Wang Xian's soul gradually fluctuated. He sensed the energy around him and heaved a sigh of relief. It took him a month to recover a little from his fall this time. The stronger he was, the longer it would take for him to resurrect. His soul sensed something, and he immediately began to condense his body. Buzz, buzz. Buzz, buzz. At this moment, he felt 3 items move in the dragon pool. One was the 5 elements crown. One was the light and dark dragon pearl, and the other was the heart of light and dark, especially the heart of light and dark. It came directly to his heart. The light and dark on the heart of light and dark has reached a balance. This is a good opportunity to merge them. Wang Xian sensed the 2 dragon pearls, the heart of light and dark, and moved slightly. As the saying goes, if one does not break, one will not stand. If one breaks, one will stand. This death was actually an opportunity for him. Once the heart of light and dark is completely merged, I will be able to master the 5 elements and the power of light and dark. When that time comes, my strength will be able to rise another level. Wang Xian thought to himself. With 7 attributes in his body, with his cultivation of the 4th level of the see-through realm, he would be able to kill the 9th level of the see-through realm. Fighting someone who was 5 levels above him was definitely a terrifying existence. Even the 5 elements Dragon King and the light and darkness Dragon King of the Divine Dragon Clan back then did not have the strength of Wang Xian, who was able to fight someone who was 5 levels above him. Thinking about how his strength could increase again, Wang Xian immediately fused the heart of light and darkness. Time flew by quickly. A month passed once again. What's going on? 2 months have passed. Why hasn't Xiao Xian formed her dragon body yet? Around the dragon pool, Guan Shuqing, Lan Sunling, and the rest were looking at the dragon pool anxiously. They were frowning. Reporting to the Dragon King, the Dragon King should be fusing with the heart of light and darkness. Therefore, it took a long time. Ao Yao had a better understanding of the heart of light and darkness, so he reported to them. Then, how long will it take to fuse? The group of girls frowned and asked, Please rest assured, Dragon Queen, the Dragon King will not be in danger. As for when he can be completely resurrected, Ao Yao doesn't know. Ao Yao shook his head. Prime Minister Gue, the resurrection of Little Immortal should take at least half a year or more. Let's go into the vast region first. Without Little Immortal, we can also make the southern royal family of Solitaire sect pay the price. Feng Wan frowned and said to Prime Minister Gue, Dragon Queens, what do you think? Prime Minister Gue looked at Lan Qingyue, Guan Shuqing, and the others and asked. Such a big matter still needed the Dragon Queen's approval. Okay, we can't rely on Little Immortal for everything. Now that Qingyue's strength has greatly increased, we are not weak either. During the time when Little Immortal is resurrected, we will take revenge for Little Immortal. The group of girls nodded their heads with frosty expressions without any hesitation. All right, then our Dragon Palace will send out a batch of forces and head to the vast area tomorrow. Prime Minister Gue immediately gave the order. While the Dragon Palace and the Dragon and Phoenix Empire were preparing to march into the vast area, Wang Xian was resurrected in the Dragon Pool. However, great changes had also taken place on Earth. Chapter 1614. 1614 Earth underwent a huge change in 1614. Earth. Ever since the supernatural continent was connected to Earth and the spiritual energy entered the Earth, the entire Earth underwent a huge change. This change was known as the spiritual energy recovery. After the spiritual energy recovery, the entire Earth entered an era of cultivation. Powerful forces and martial arts schools rose one after another. The gods in the west and the immortals in the east ruled the entire Earth. However, while the spiritual energy was recovering, the master of the ocean, the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace, suppressed the world for an entire lifetime, annihilated the strongest person on Earth, and ascended to the highest position. During those years, the entire Earth revered the Dragon Palace and the Dragon King as the Emperor. All the major forces submitted, and all the powerful people bent their knees. After the Dragon King's sister got married, the entire Dragon Palace and the Dragon King completely went into hiding. In the next few years, there were no more stories about the Dragon King and the Dragon Palace. The abundance of spiritual energy caused great changes to occur on Earth every day. Martial arts improved by leaps and bounds, and everyone practiced martial arts. Even in the next few years, everyone on Earth was shocked to find that the Earth was slowly growing larger. Some people guess that this was because the Earth had absorbed spiritual energy and was slowly growing and evolving. In the past month, the entire Earth had undergone the most shocking change in history. In the eastern sky, a sky city that was over 10,000 kilometers long appeared. It was called the Lingxiao Palace, also known as the Heavenly Court. It had the same name as the Lingxiao Palace and the Heavenly Court in Chinese mythology, but it was completely different. The sudden appearance of a sky city that was over 10,000 kilometers long shook the entire world. You are a heaven's favorite, so why don't you ride the wind to the 9 heavens? The Lingxiao Palace will descend to Earth, and the Heavenly Court will open wide to recruit disciples. Those who enter the Heavenly Court will be ranked on the God Ascension list, and everyone will be able to become a god. A voice suddenly resounded throughout the entire Earth, and everyone revealed shocked expressions. Oh my God, what is this? Has the mythological era arrived? What a terrifying sky city! The Lingxiao Palace? The Heavenly Court? What is this situation? What force is this? Why does it give me a suffocating feeling? Hiss, the Lingxiao Palace? The Heavenly Court? Is it as powerful as the Dragon Palace? Is it as powerful as the Dragon King? The Dragon King can't even be compared to it, right? This aura is too terrifying. Oh my God, A city tens of thousands of kilometers in the sky? Is this the real God? Everyone on Earth and the entire eastern continent raised their heads in shock and looked up. What a terrifying aura. Even Master doesn't have such an aura. Earth has undergone a huge change. I wonder where Master is. The strongest person in the Yellow Heaven Immortal sect, the #1 immortal sect on Earth, looked up at the heavenly court and muttered, "The Holy Church will envelop the world and divine light will descend. The light of the God of Light will envelop the world. The Holy Church will recruit disciples. Those who join our Holy Church will obtain eternal life." After the voice from the soaring heaven's palace sounded, a huge mountain of light appeared in the sky in the west. A voice filled with divine light resounded throughout the Western world. The voice spread throughout the earth, and the world was once again shocked. The Fire God Palace, the fire of the equator, all living beings, ignite the divine fire and attain the divine position. If you want to become a god, join our Fire God Palace. Above the equator, a group of palaces appeared under the brilliant sun. A palace emitting a divine flame descended. The voice also resounded throughout the entire earth. However, this was not the end. A wild voice resounded throughout the entire earth. The 5 lakes and 4 seas are all the land of the sea god. What dragon king, what dragon palace? In front of me they are nothing but ants. An arrogant voice echoed across the entire earth. At this moment, a burly man was floating in the sky above the ocean. Behind him, there was a huge ocean. Countless people stood proudly in the ocean and looked at their god with respect. Such trash dares to call himself the master of the ocean, the dragon king of the dragon palace? Kill him. The burly middle-aged man held the trident in his hand and stared at the bottom of the ocean with his blue eyes. At the bottom of the ocean, a level 1 dragon palace that occupied a 10-kilometer radius was lying there quietly. In the dragon palace, the civil officials and some members who had entered the dragon palace looked at the sky in shock. The burly middle-aged man lightly moved the trident in his hand, and the trident that covered a 20-kilometer radius directly attacked the bottom of the ocean. Boom! A terrifying explosion sounded, and the entire earth seemed to tremble. What dragon king of the dragon palace, casually wiped out? The burly middle-aged man laughed and looked down at the entire ocean. I am the sea god, a cultivator of the water element. I can pass the test and join my divine sea. One voice after another spread across the entire earth. When everyone on earth heard the sea god's words, their faces were filled with shock. What? The dragon king of the dragon palace was destroyed by the sea god. That terrifying attack spread across tens of thousands of kilometers. Oh my God, the dragon palace seemed to be destroyed by the sea god's attack. This is the true God. The dragon king is simply worlds apart from him. Why did so many terrifying forces descend on Earth? Could it be because of the recovery of spiritual energy? Next, Earth will enter the mythical generation. Everyone can become a god. I want to join the heavenly court and enter the god ascension list. Become a god and live forever. Our opportunity has come. I want to join a powerful force and become an invincible god. Countless people on Earth were talking about it. Everyone's eyes were filled with shock and strong desire. In just a short day, the entire Earth had undergone terrifying changes. The Dragon Palace had been destroyed, and the Dragon King was suspected to have been destroyed. One by one, forces capable of transcending the universe had descended upon Earth. Earth had begun to enter the mythical era, an era where everyone could become a god. Ding! Earth's first-class Dragon Palace has been destroyed. All the members of the Dragon Palace have died. In the Dragon Palace in the Luhai region, Wang Xian, who was completely fusing with the heart of light and darkness, suddenly heard a voice from the system. What's going on? How could the Dragon Palace on Earth be destroyed? Wang Xian was shocked. After the Dragon Palace was relocated to the Transcendence continent, the system left behind a Level 1 Dragon Palace on Earth. Although the Level 1 Dragon Palace was low, there were more than a dozen experts left in the Dragon Palace. These experts were almost invincible existences on Earth. How could the Dragon Palace be destroyed now? Did something happen on Earth? Forget it. I'll return to Earth to take a look after I settle the extraordinary continent. Wang Xian thought to himself. There were too few resources on Earth. With the current strength of the Dragon Palace, returning to Earth would restrict their development. He would prepare to return to Earth after dominating the entire extraordinary continent. After all, Earth was Wang Xian's home. I wonder which reckless force dared to destroy the Dragon Palace. Wang Xian mumbled. Very soon he continued to immerse himself in the heart of light and darkness. Chapter 1615. 1615. The War of 1615 was about to begin. Currently, Wang Xian was in the stage of resurrection. According to his estimation, it would take him at least 1 year to resurrect. During this 1 year, he couldn't do anything. Therefore, even if the Dragon Palace on Earth was destroyed, he couldn't do anything about it. Everyone, get ready to head to the vast region. Outside the Dragon Palace, there was once a demi-human cemetery. Now, it was the capital of the Dragon Phoenix Empire. Feng Wan floated in the sky and looked down. 100,000 people lined up neatly. Among them, there were more than 1,000 experts at the profound void realm. Mount the giant Kuan. Woo-woo. A sky-shaking whistle sounded. At the seaside, Xiaolan's enormous body slowly flew over. Hiss! Everyone in the Dragon Phoenix Imperial City, including the soldiers and generals who were ready to follow the Empress to fight in the vast area, were shocked. Is this the power of the Dragon Palace? This giant beast is the pet of one of the Dragon King's wives. It's too terrifying. My legs are trembling. Everyone in the Dragon Phoenix Imperial City looked at the sky in shock. Over 4,000 members of the Dragon Palace were standing on top of the 10,000-meter-long body of Little Blue. Leading them were Lan Qingyue, Guan Shuqing, and the other girls. Apart from them, Prime Minister Gui had also made an appearance. Behind them was Ao Qitian, who was holding the golden ocean-pacifying needle in his hand and had a furious expression on his face. Ao Jian, who held a golden long sword in his hand and had an emotionless gaze. Mao Zesen, who held a longbow in his hand and had long and elegant arms. Duan Jinming, the current leader of the Firehammer clan, and Ba Qi from the Special Department of the Poison-Making Department. Every leader and every member of the Combat Department rode a flaming phoenix dragon with wings. It was majestic and powerful. It was an invincible army. This time, the Dragon Palace sent 3/5 of their forces to the vast area. Go, fly up! All the soldiers and generals of the Dragon Phoenix Empire looked up at Little Blue and flew over immediately. Seeing the powerful aura of the members of the Dragon Palace from Little Blue, all of them looked reverent. The Dragon Palace is much more powerful than the Dragon Phoenix Empire. The Dragon Palace is the main force in the vast area this time. I thought that the gap between us and the Dragon Palace wasn't too big. Now it seems that the gap is too big. Fortunately, the Dragon King has a good relationship with our Phoenix Emperor. The important ministers of the Dragon Phoenix Empire glanced at the members of the Dragon Palace and said in a low voice, "Qingyue, let's go." Feng Wan nodded at Lan Qingyue and said, "Okay." Lan Qingyue nodded and said to Little Blue, "Woo." With a whistle, Little Blue carried hundreds of thousands of people and flew toward the vast area. With a body of 10,000 meters, hundreds of thousands of people didn't feel crowded at all. Because it carried hundreds of thousands of people, Little Blue couldn't use the black hole method to move quickly. But even so, with Little Blue's speed, it was still very terrifying. We want the flag of the Dragon and Phoenix Empire to be planted at the top of the vast area. At the front of the Dragon and Phoenix Empire, General Menghong waved the huge flag of the Dragon and Phoenix Empire in the sky. He roared with excitement. Plant it at the top of the vast region. The soldiers of the Dragon and Phoenix Empire roared with battle intent. Feng Wan smiled when she heard their roars. It had been more than 5 years since she was resurrected here. After she met Wang Xian 3 years ago, the empire that belonged to her had been developing rapidly. In the past, he had wanted to complete his revenge within a few thousand years. Now, it seemed that it wouldn't take long. On this journey, once she conquered the vast region, she would be able to establish the 6th great empire in the vast continent, the Dragon Phoenix Empire. Although I have your help, Feng Wan, will not drag you back. Feng Wan looked ahead with a strong sense of confidence in her eyes. Woo-woo. Xiaolan, with a body of 10,000 meters, roamed the sky. Within a 100-kilometer radius, all the demon beasts and fierce beasts retreated. In the entire transcendent continent, demon beasts and fierce beasts above the longevity realm were extremely rare. In the entire empire, experts at the longevity realm were also considered as country-guarding experts. In the previous Phoenix dynasty, there were only 5 experts at the longevity realm. Perhaps the dragon race had the highest number of experts at the longevity realm. As for how many longevity experts the dragon race had, that was unknown. That was because no one in the transcendental continent knew how strong the dragon race was. When it came to the dragon race, there were only 2 words: invincible. To the entire dragon race, the Draconid Empire could only be considered a little brother. One could imagine how powerful the dragon race was. This is all the information in the vast region. Our Dragon King has a good relationship with the He race. Once we gain a foothold, we can build a good relationship with the He race. Our relationship with the Wuji Empire is also quite good. However, if the Dragon Phoenix Empire wants to unify in the future, the Wuji Empire will have to submit to us. They might be our enemies. In addition, the ruins of the Divine Kingdom are a treasure ground in the vast region. It is rumored that if someone can control the ruins of the Divine Kingdom, they can unify the vast region and build an empire. But in the ruins of the Divine Kingdom, there were countless experts from the empire, and even longevity experts who came without success. On Xiaolan's body, Prime Minister Gui and Feng Wan exchanged the information they had obtained and said, "Right now, our first priority is to control the Ice Heart Empire's imperial city and subdue all the cities in the Ice Heart Imperial City." Feng Wan nodded and said, "Yes, the development of our Dragon Palace requires a large amount of resources. So I will send people into the forest of the Divine Kingdom." Prime Minister Gui and Feng Wan began to discuss the development of the Divine Kingdom. Xiaolan flew quickly. Originally, it would take a few days for Wang Xian to cross the north-flowing sea. Now, with Xiaolan's speed, they arrived at the edge of the vast region in less than a day. My God, what is that gigantic beast? It even covered the sky. This is the gigantic beast of the wilderness goddess. It's the gigantic beast of the wilderness goddess, the wife of the sky demon. Look, there seem to be many people on that gigantic beast. There's even a gigantic flag. What's going on? The wilderness goddess brought people to the vast area. Could it be that she's here to take revenge on a lone sect? When Xiaolan entered the vast area, many people in the city below recognized the terrifying giant beast at a glance. When they saw the people standing on top of the giant beast, shock and horror appeared on their faces. The world-shaking battle 2 months ago had already spread throughout the vast area. The edge of the vast area was the last to know. When they heard the news here, they were all extremely shocked. That was because, according to their understanding, the Sky Demon was the expert who destroyed Atlas Sect and founded the Heartless Sword Path Sect. Recently, everyone was talking about the Sky Demon. During that world-shaking battle, The appearance of the wilderness goddess determined the defeat of solipsistic sect and the southern royal family. Now, the wilderness goddess had appeared once again. Chapter 1616. 1616, the War of 1616, was about to begin. The giant beast covered the sky and the sun. When Xiaolan carried the members of the Dragon Palace and the people of the Dragon Phoenix Empire in the sky above the vast area, she instantly attracted the attention of everyone in the city below. Her 10,000-meter-long body and 10-kilometer-long body were still extremely eye-catching, even though she was flying at a height of 10,000 meters. In addition to the world-shaking battle 2 months ago, the Sky Demon and Patriarch Feng Qi, 2 level 9 insightful Void Realm experts, had fallen. Everyone had a deeper understanding of the wilderness goddess. Now that the giant beast was in the sky, everyone who saw it quickly recognized that it was the wilderness goddess. The giant beast must have flown over from the flowing sea region. What is it doing carrying so many people? Is it taking revenge on the lone sect? Everyone recalled that the wilderness goddess had once said that she would come back to take revenge. Was it about to start now? If she really came to take revenge, then our sect might be in deep trouble. Some factions raised their heads and looked at the gigantic beast as it passed by at a terrifying speed. After that unprecedented battle, the reputation of our sect had fallen to its lowest point. Now, the arrival of the wilderness goddess signified the start of the war. The entire vast region would probably fall into chaos. Xiaolan flew at high speed. Soon, the news of the wilderness goddess high-profile return spread throughout the vast region. Your Majesty, all the cities of the Bingxin dynasty have been recovered. In 3 days, all the city lords will rush over to pay their respects. Those arrogant brats, under the intimidation of the Patriarch, will immediately flee. At this moment, within the imperial city of the Bingxin dynasty, the city walls that had been breached had been completely repaired. The glorious and huge imperial palace had not been affected by the war that destroyed the country. Although the imperial palace was slightly depressed, there were still over 10,000 people in the entire imperial palace. In the imperial palace, Bing Fa Wu sat on the dragon throne and listened to the reports from below. A faint smile appeared on his face. Dear ministers, with the Patriarch here, our Bingxin dynasty will definitely rebuild its glory. He looked down at everyone in front of him arrogantly and said in a deep voice, It's His Majesty. We believe that the Bingxin dynasty will definitely recover its glory under His Majesty's wise and divine martial arts. All the ministers immediately flattered him. Let's withdraw from the court. Bing Jing Huan waved his hand and directly walked to the back. The destruction of the Bingxin dynasty had almost wiped out all the disciples of the royal family and the Ice clan. However, the Ice Heart dynasty still had 2 bloodlines. One was Bing Fa Wu, and the other was Bing Jing Huan. Although the Ice Heart dynasty is not as glorious as it used to be, my position is above all others. Bing Jing Huan was wearing a yellow robe and a crown. The corners of his mouth curled up slightly. The destruction of the Ice Heart dynasty had dealt a huge blow to him, especially that unprecedented battle. It had made him feel extremely embarrassed and hopeless. Fortunately, the Sky Demon fell in the end. The lone sect had almost been reduced to ruins. The promise to help them restore their country had long been forgotten. Fortunately, there was still an ancestor. The ancestor at the 8th rank of the Void Interpretation Realm led him back to the Ice Heart dynasty unwillingly. With the strength of the 8th rank of the Void Interpretation Realm, one person could suppress 100,000 kilometers. Without the Sky Demon, it would not be too difficult to regain control of the Ice Heart dynasty. Although the members of the imperial family of the Ice clan were almost extinct, the imperial city was still there, and some of its foundations were still there. The ancestor ordered people to recruit thousands of beautiful women into the imperial palace, and asked me to spread the branches and leaves of the Ice Clan. Next, the task is quite heavy. Bing Jing, Huan muttered, his eyes filled with excitement. He was the only young disciple of the Ice Clan, and the throne was his, so he was the only one who could spread the branches and leaves. There were thousands of beautiful women. Even when he was a prince, he didn't have the right to directly recruit thousands of women for him to play with. Thinking of this, he felt that it wasn't a bad thing that the other members of the Ice Clan were exterminated. Why is the sky getting dark? Just as Bing Jing Huan walked out of the palace, he suddenly felt that the entire sky had become dark. He raised his head and looked up at the sky. His eyes instantly widened, and a look of panic appeared in his eyes. At the same time, in a palace in the imperial palace, Bing Fa Wu's expression changed drastically as he flew out and looked up at the giant beast in the sky. He clenched his fists tightly, and a look of despair appeared in his eyes. Below is the Ice Heart Imperial City, located in the center of the Ice Heart Lake. A civil official of the Dragon Palace said to Prime Minister Gue, Fengwan, and the rest, It's well organized below. Looks like someone is already managing this place. The Imperial Palace is operating. Someone should be occupying it. There's an expert at the 8th level of the see-through void tier. Fengwan looked down, and her fiery red eyes swept across the entire city. The flag of the Ice Heart Empire hasn't changed. If I'm not wrong, it should be the Night Prince and the Patriarch of the Ice Heart Empire. The civil official who followed Wang Xian to the vast region said from the side, Everything is because of them. If it was not for them, little Xian would not have fallen. A hint of killing intent flashed in Lan Qingyue's eyes. Leave it to us. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Everyone in the city below, listen up. Today, the Dragon and Phoenix Empire has occupied the city. The city has been renamed the Dragon and Phoenix Imperial City. All those who refuse to obey will be killed. A cold voice sounded from the Dragon Phoenix Empire's general. The voice covered the entire Ice Heart Imperial City. 10 soldiers flew down from Little Blue's body. All the members of the Dragon Palace also rode on the Fire Phoenix Dragon Seed and looked down at the entire city. You're the ancestor of the Ice Heart Empire, aren't you? You caused our Dragon King to lose his body. Today, I'll sentence you to death. Lan Qingyue stared at Bing Fa in the Imperial Palace and said with a cold expression, Hiss, as expected, it is indeed the Wilderness Goddess. What is the Dragon Phoenix dynasty? Was it the power of the Sky Demon? The Wilderness Goddess has returned once again. She is taking over our Bingxin Imperial City. Kneel down, hurry up and kneel down. The real emperor is coming. At this moment, in the Bingxin Imperial City, when Little Blue arrived in the sky, everyone in the entire city looked up in shock. When they heard these voices, they were completely certain. The arrival of the Wilderness Goddess wasn't just that. It was very likely that the Sky Devil's forces had arrived as well. They took over the Ice Heart Imperial City and changed it to the Dragon and Phoenix Imperial City. They would also welcome the new king. Feeling the terrifying auras in the sky, the citizens of the Ice Heart Imperial City, who had already been defeated, once no longer had any fighting spirit. Some people even directly knelt on the ground. They knew that this time the Ice Heart Empire would completely cease to exist. Goddess of the Wildlands, why? Bing Fa Wu's gaze stared at Lan Qingyue in the sky. His breathing was somewhat hurried, and his expression was incomparably malevolent. Flee! His blood-red eyes fiercely swept over, and his body moved as he directly fled into the distance. Many people noticed that the old ancestor of the Ice Heart dynasty was fleeing for his life. However, the moment Bing Fa flew into the sky, his head flew away. You've injured our Dragon King. Do you think you can survive? Before he died, a cold voice entered his mind. In the Imperial Palace, Bing Jinghuan, who had witnessed the scene with his own eyes, collapsed to the ground. Chapter 16-17. 1616, the War of 1616, was about to begin. The giant beast covered the sky and the sun. When Xiaolon carried the members of the Dragon Palace and the people of the Dragon Phoenix Empire in the sky above the vast area, she instantly attracted the attention of everyone in the city below. Her 10,000-meter-long body and 10-kilometer-long body were still extremely eye-catching, even though she was flying at a height of 10,000 meters. In addition to the world-shaking battle 2 months ago, the Sky Demon and Patriarch Feng Qi, 2 level 9 insightful Void Realm experts, had fallen. Everyone had a deeper understanding of the Wilderness Goddess. Now that the giant beast was in the sky, everyone who saw it quickly recognized that it was the Wilderness Goddess. The giant beast must have flown over from the flowing sea region. What is it doing carrying so many people? Is it taking revenge on the lone sect? Everyone recalled that the Wilderness Goddess had once said that she would come back to take revenge. Was it about to start now? If she really came to take revenge, then our sect might be in deep trouble. Some factions raised their heads and looked at the gigantic beast as it passed by at a terrifying speed. After that unprecedented battle, the reputation of our sect had fallen to its lowest point. Now, the arrival of the Wilderness Goddess signified the start of the war. The entire vast region would probably fall into chaos. Xiaolon flew at high speed. Soon, the news of the Wilderness Goddess' high-profile return spread throughout the vast region. Your Majesty, all the cities of the Bingxin dynasty have been recovered. In 3 days, all the city lords will rush over to pay their respects. Those arrogant brats, under the intimidation of the Patriarch, will immediately flee. At this moment, within the imperial city of the Bingxin dynasty, the city walls that had been breached had been completely repaired. The glorious and huge imperial palace had not been affected by the war that destroyed the country. Although the imperial palace was slightly depressed, there were still over 10,000 people in the entire imperial palace. In the imperial palace, Bing Fa Wu sat on the dragon throne and listened to the reports from below. A faint smile appeared on his face. Dear ministers, with the Patriarch here, our Bingxin dynasty will definitely rebuild its glory. He looked down at everyone in front of him arrogantly and said in a deep voice, "It's His Majesty. We believe that the Bingxin dynasty will definitely recover its glory under His Majesty's wise and divine martial arts." All the ministers immediately flattered him. "Let's withdraw from the court." Bing Jing Huan waved his hand and directly walked to the back. The destruction of the Bingxin dynasty had almost wiped out all the disciples of the royal family and the Ice Clan. However, the Ice Heart dynasty still had 2 bloodlines. One was Bing Fa Wu, and the other was Bing Jing Huan. Although the Ice Heart dynasty is not as glorious as it used to be, my position is above all others. Bing Jing Huan was wearing a yellow robe and a crown. The corners of his mouth curled up slightly. The destruction of the Ice Heart dynasty had dealt a huge blow to him, especially that unprecedented battle. It had made him feel extremely embarrassed and hopeless. Fortunately, the Sky Demon fell in the end. The lone sect had almost been reduced to ruins. The promise to help them restore their country had long been forgotten. Fortunately, there was still an ancestor. The ancestor at the 8th rank of the Void Interpretation Realm led him back to the Ice Heart dynasty unwillingly. With the strength of the 8th rank of the Void Interpretation Realm, one person could suppress 100,000 kilometers. Without the Sky Demon, it would not be too difficult to regain control of the Ice Heart dynasty. Although the members of the imperial family of the Ice Clan were almost extinct, the imperial city was still there, and some of its foundations were still there. The ancestor ordered people to recruit thousands of beautiful women into the imperial palace, and asked me to spread the branches and leaves of the Ice Clan. Next, the task is quite heavy. Bing Jing Huan muttered, his eyes filled with excitement. He was the only young disciple of the Ice Clan, and the throne was his, so he was the only one who could spread the branches and leaves. There were thousands of beautiful women. Even when he was a prince, he didn't have the right to directly recruit thousands of women for him to play with. Thinking of this, he felt that it wasn't a bad thing that the other members of the Ice Clan were exterminated. Why is the sky getting dark? Just as Bing Jing Huan walked out of the palace, he suddenly felt that the entire sky had become dark. He raised his head and looked up at the sky. His eyes instantly widened, and a look of panic appeared in his eyes. At the same time, in a palace in the imperial palace, Bing Fa Wu's expression changed drastically as he flew out and looked up at the giant beast in the sky. He clenched his fists tightly, and a look of despair appeared in his eyes. Below is the Ice Heart Imperial City, located in the center of the Ice Heart Lake. A civil official of the Dragon Palace said to Prime Minister Gue, Fengwan, and the rest, It's well organized below. Looks like someone is already managing this place. The Imperial Palace is operating. Someone should be occupying it. There's an expert at the 8th level of the see-through void tier. Fengwan looked down, and her fiery red eyes swept across the entire city. The flag of the Ice Heart Empire hasn't changed. If I'm not wrong, it should be the Night Prince and the Patriarch of the Ice Heart Empire. The civil official who followed Wang Xian to the vast region said from the side, Everything is because of them. If it was not for them, little Xian would not have fallen. A hint of killing intent flashed in Lan Qingyue's eyes. Leave it to us. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Everyone in the city below, listen up. Today, the Dragon and Phoenix Empire has occupied the city. The city has been renamed the Dragon and Phoenix Imperial City. All those who refuse to obey will be killed. A cold voice sounded from the Dragon Phoenix Empire's general. The voice covered the entire Ice Heart Imperial City. 10 soldiers flew down from Little Blue's body. All the members of the Dragon Palace also rode on the Fire Phoenix Dragon Seed and looked down at the entire city. You're the ancestor of the Ice Heart Empire, aren't you? You caused our Dragon King to lose his body. Today, I'll sentence you to death. Lan Qingyue stared at Bing Fa in the Imperial Palace and said with a cold expression, Hiss, as expected, it is indeed the Wilderness Goddess. What is the Dragon Phoenix dynasty? Was it the power of the Sky Demon? The Wilderness Goddess has returned once again. She is taking over our Bingxin Imperial City. Kneel down, hurry up and kneel down. The real emperor is coming. At this moment, in the Bingxin Imperial City, when Little Blue arrived in the sky, everyone in the entire city looked up in shock. When they heard these voices, they were completely certain. The arrival of the Wilderness Goddess wasn't just that. It was very likely that the Sky Devil's forces had arrived as well. They took over the Ice Heart Imperial City and changed it to the Dragon and Phoenix Imperial City. They would also welcome the new king. Feeling the terrifying auras in the sky, the citizens of the Ice Heart Imperial City, who had already been defeated, once no longer had any fighting spirit. Some people even directly knelt on the ground. They knew that this time the Ice Heart Empire would completely cease to exist. Goddess of the Wildlands, why? Bing Fa Wu's gaze stared at Lan Qingyue in the sky. His breathing was somewhat hurried, and his expression was incomparably malevolent. Flee! His blood-red eyes fiercely swept over, and his body moved as he directly fled into the distance. Many people noticed that the old ancestor of the Ice Heart dynasty was fleeing for his life. However, the moment Bing Fa flew into the sky, his head flew away. You've injured our Dragon King. Do you think you can survive? Before he died, a cold voice entered his mind. In the Imperial Palace, Bing Jinghuan, who had witnessed the scene with his own eyes, collapsed to the ground. Chapter 1618. 1618 1618 Superforces. The strength of the Dragon and Phoenix Empire is unknown, but it is reported that the ancestor of the Bingxin dynasty, Bingfou, was killed instantly in the sky above the palace when he tried to escape. The old man named Mo Shah didn't appear. According to my guess, the Dragon and Phoenix Empire has at least 2 experts at the 9th level of the Profound Void tier. It is very likely that there are 3 of them. In the imperial palace of the Wuji Empire, the civil and military officials had gathered together during the Morning Dynasty. The king of the Wuji Empire was sitting on the dragon throne, and 2 old men were sitting on the seats that hadn't been occupied for almost 100 years. These 2 old men were the ancestors of the Wuji Empire, and they were even more powerful than the king. Obviously, with the expansion of the Dragon Phoenix Empire, the barbarian goddess has come again in a high-profile manner. Soon, they might declare war on the solipsistic sect. The emperor of Wuji Empire muttered, "Your Majesty, our relationship with the Sky Demon is relatively close. As long as we stay out of this war, it shouldn't affect us in any way." An elder, standing at the front of the hall, said, "No matter what, the Sky Demon once saved Qing City. Send someone to send gifts to express their sympathy and goodwill." At the back of the Wuji Empire's throne, Patriarch Dark, I said faintly, "With the peak combat strength that the Dragon and Phoenix Empire has displayed, it's already comparable to the Supreme Sect and the Southern Royal Family. We remain neutral." Another patriarch of the Wuji Empire said directly, "Yes." The king of the Wuji Empire immediately nodded and sent someone to the Dragon and Phoenix Empire to express his condolence. Reporting to Supreme Sect Master, "This is the news from the Dragon and Phoenix Empire." At the Solitaire Sect, similarly, all the experts of the entire sect gathered at a mountain peak. The Supreme Sect Master stared at the information in his hand with a gloomy face, his body filled with a terrifying killing intent. At least 2 9th-level Profound Void martial artists, or even 3. He sat on the green stone chair, his palm grabbing hard, leaving deep marks. "I'll make a trip to the Southern Royal Family. All the disciples of our sect will enter battle mode and be ready for battle at any time." The Supreme Headmaster said with a stern expression. His figure moved and disappeared. Now that Patriarch Fengqi of our sect had fallen, they, one of the 3 major factions, were at a complete disadvantage. Facing a powerful enemy, they had no means to resist. The only way was to join forces with the Southern Royal Family. The Southern Royal Family couldn't stay out of the Sky Demon's death either. I heard that the Wuji Dynasty sent people to the Dragon and Phoenix Dynasty. Are they going to join forces? The Supreme Headmaster of the Solipsistic Sect is scared. He actually went to the Southern Royal Family in person. He must have come to an agreement with the Southern Royal Family. In the past few days, I have a feeling that the atmosphere in the vast region has changed greatly. There won't be a war, will there? As time passed, the arrival of the Wilderness Goddess and the Dragon Phoenix Empire shocked the vast region. The actions of the 3 superpowers had affected everyone. In the past 10 days, every piece of news had caused a huge commotion. In the ruins of the Divine Kingdom, where all the factions had gathered, everyone could feel a heavy atmosphere. Even a first-rate faction would shudder in the face of a superpower. Feng Huang, the Wilderness Goddess, Prime Minister Gue, after our Patriarch's decision, we are willing to use the information channels of the He clan to provide all the resources for the Dragon and Phoenix Empire. In the imperial city of the Dragon and Phoenix Empire, Feng Huang, Prime Minister Gue, Lan Qingyue, and the others gathered once again. An old man sat at the side below and said respectfully, "It's enough. The following battle is not something you can participate in." Feng Huang nodded and looked at the old man with sparkling eyes. "In the next 3 days, can you find information about the disciples of our sect?" The old man was shocked when he heard Feng Huang's words and immediately nodded. "As long as the disciples of our sect appear, the He clan will be able to receive the information." "Okay, in that case, we will wait for your news." Feng Huang nodded. "Yes, Emperor Feng." The old man nodded and left after talking for a while. Are we going to make a move? Lan Qingyue looked at Feng Wan and asked, Make a move, Prime Minister Gue. How are the preparations going in the Dragon Palace? Feng Wan nodded and looked at Prime Minister Gue. The Demon Combat Division won't participate in the following battles. The small-scale battles will mainly rely on the Dragon Spur Division of the Dragon Guard Division and the Heavenly Arrow Division. Prime Minister Gue's eyes sparkled. We are not in a hurry to nourish the battle with battle. Okay. Feng Wan nodded. Our Dragon and Phoenix Empire is not as strong as you, but I will do well in the back. The vast area is going to be in chaos. Time passed slowly. It had been half a month since the Dragon and Phoenix Empire had arrived in the vast area. In half a month, there was no movement except for the more than 300 cities that they had conquered. But everyone knew that this was the calm before the storm. Those are the disciples of the Solitaire sect. Are they heading into the Divine Kingdom ruins? The Solitaire sect has suffered heavy losses. If they want to recover quickly, they have to enter the Divine Kingdom ruins to obtain resources. At the location of the Divine Kingdom ruins, the Solitaire sect group of 40 to 50 people flew towards the Divine Kingdom ruins. Some people in the surroundings saw this and whispered amongst themselves, Damn it, they actually dared to talk about our only sect. At our peak, who would dare to talk about us? At this moment, among the 40 to 50 people, a young man shouted in a low voice with an embarrassed expression. His gaze swept across the group of people, and his eyes were filled with killing intent. The sect leader told us to keep a low profile and not cause any trouble. An old man warned with a gloomy face. Hearing the discussions around him, his expression did not look good either. If it was in the past, if anyone dared to talk about them like this, they would be killed immediately. Wong, wong, wong. So. Kill. As soon as the old man finished speaking, an incomparably cold killing intent suddenly charged towards him. Numerous deadly arrows and incomparably resplendent golden longswords. Not good. They're definitely from the Dragon and Phoenix Empire. We've been ambushed. Kill. The expressions of the 40 to 50 disciples of the Solitaire sect changed drastically, and they hurriedly took out their weapons. Ah! Screams of pain instantly rang out. The members of the Dragon Guard and the Heavenly Arrow Division, who had been ambushed beforehand, immediately launched fatal attacks. After less than 2 rounds of attacks, 40 to 50 disciples of the Solitaire sect were directly killed. Take away the corpses, let's go. One of the Dragon Guards gave the order to take away all the corpses and leave. When the surrounding people saw the disciples of the Solitaire sect suddenly being killed by the attacks, they were all shocked. Gulp. Has it started? Has the Dragon Phoenix Empire started to make a move? It's chaotic. It's about to get chaotic. 2 superpowers fighting. No, there might even be 3. Chapter 1619. 1619, 1619th Super Forces. As expected, the Dragon and Phoenix Empire has made their move. Do they really think that we, the Supreme Sect, are easy to bully? War. All the disciples of the Supreme Sect are ready for war? Gather all the information about the Dragon and Phoenix Empire and fight. Contact the Southern Royal Family. We have already formed an alliance with the Southern Royal Family. Kill. When the Supreme Sect leader of the Supreme Sect learned that his disciples had been attacked, he roared furiously. It's the Supreme Sect leader. Kill. If they want to fight, then we'll fight them. The Soli Sect was in an uproar, and everyone's faces were filled with killing intent. From today onwards, the Soli Sect and the Dragon Phoenix Empire will fight to the death. From today onwards, the Southern Royal Family and the Dragon Phoenix Empire will fight to the death. On the same day, the Soli Sect announced the start of the battle. In less than a few hours, the Southern Royal Family also announced the start of the battle. The two superpowers declared war at the same time, causing the entire vast region to be in an uproar. My God, as expected, the lone cult and the southern royal family have joined forces. The battle is about to begin. With the superpowers joining forces, the entire vast region is about to become a battlefield. According to rumors, the Dragon and Phoenix Empire has at least 2 rank 9 void interpretation experts, or even 3. The lone cult and the southern royal family have no choice but to join forces. All the forces in the vast area revealed expressions of shock. They really have joined forces. Do they really think that we're afraid of you? Feng Yuan and Prime Minister Gui revealed cold expressions when they heard the declaration of the lone sect and the Dragon Phoenix Empire. Announced that from today onwards, the Dragon Phoenix Empire, the lone sect, and the southern royal family will fight to the death. The next day, Feng Yuan's words spread throughout the entire area. They had come here to fight. Who was afraid of a battle? In the entire area, there were 4 superforces, and 3 of them had declared war. The scope of the battle would definitely affect the entire area. The declaration of war began, and so did the battle. On the 3rd day after the declaration of war, the Dragon Guards and the Heavenly Eye Arrow Division attacked again, killing over 100 disciples of the Southern Royal Family. On the 5th day, the Solipsistic sect laid an ambush and used bait to kill 5 Dragon Guards. On the 10th day, the 500 void interpretation experts of the Dragon Phoenix Empire fought with the 300 void interpretation experts of the Southern Royal Family. They lost 30 void interpretation experts and killed more than 250 of their opponents. On the 15th day, the Southern Royal Family sent people to secretly attack a city of the Dragon Phoenix Empire. They killed 1 million people and left. On the 20th day, 1 million people from a foreign race under the Southern Royal Family were killed overnight. In the first month, the area occupied by the Southern Royal Family and the Solipsistic sect in the God Country, Ruins, suffered a sneak attack and suffered heavy losses. Damn it! How did the Dragon Phoenix Empire know our information so accurately? They have just arrived in the vast area. There must be a faction providing them with information. A month later, the war between the 3 superforces shook the entire vast region. After a month of confrontation, the Dragon Phoenix Empire was in a completely advantageous position. In the Southern Royal Family's southern, desolate plains, the Southern Royal Family's patriarch roared angrily. In our vast region, the most powerful forces with information are the Wuji Empire and the He clan. Both of them could have provided information to the Dragon Phoenix Empire. The Supreme Headmaster also stood there with a gloomy expression. In a month, each of them had lost 500 to 600 experts at the profound void tier. This was close to 1/10 of their strength. We can't go on like this. Next, we'll have to command some small factions to serve us. In addition, today we'll head to the Wuji Empire and ask them if they've provided information to the Dragon and Phoenix Empire. As for the He clan, we'll directly destroy them. The patriarch of the Southern Royal Family roared furiously. Let's go. We'll set off immediately. The Supreme Headmaster nodded and immediately flew into the Wuji dynasty. On the same day, the news of the Supreme Headmaster and the 2 patriarchs of the Southern Royal Family going to the Wuji dynasty's imperial palace spread throughout the vast region. The He clan, who had received the news at the first moment, immediately recalled all their disciples and defended the holy tree. The Supreme Hierarch and the 2 ancestors of the Southern Royal Family left the Wuji dynasty and flew directly to the He clan. With the protection of the sacred tree, the He clan could withstand the attacks of 3 peerless experts. 10 days later, a first-rate force, the Dust Gate, suddenly attacked the Dragon and Phoenix dynasty. The 200 Dragon Guards were caught unprepared and were killed. Ao Yao, mobilize all the members of the Dragon Spike and kill all the forces that are close to the Southern Royal Family of the Supreme Hierarch. 200 Dragon Guards were killed. Prime Minister Gui's eyes turned red as he gave an order to Ao Yao. The dust sect's attack had completely implicated all the other forces. In one night, the Nine Lotus sect, which was close to the Solitaire sect, was directly destroyed. The Dust sect and the others escaped to the Solitaire sect and escaped a calamity. However, the first-rate force, the Southern Garden Empire, was forced by the Southern royal family to join the battle and fight against the Dragon and Phoenix Empire. The appearance of the three first-rate forces caused the battle to spread to the entire region. It was a huge battle, a fierce battle. The first-rate forces were forced by the lone sect and the Southern royal family to take action, and the second-rate forces wouldn't be able to stay out of it. 2 months later, the He clan and the He Sui clan joined the battle of the Dragon and Phoenix Empire. The battle became even more fierce. In the 3rd month, the Wuji Empire declared that they would remain neutral in this war in the vast region. After that, the Divine Light Empire declared that they would remain neutral. Those second-rate and weak forces all joined the Wuji Empire, remaining neutral and seeking protection. 30% of the forces were close to the Wuji Empire and remained neutral. 30% of the forces were forced to join the Solipsistic sect and the Wuji Empire. Only 20% of the forces joined the Dragon and Phoenix Empire's camp. As for the other 20% of the forces, they had already been destroyed by Ao Yao and the Dragon's Spike members. The bitter war lasted for 8 months straight. During these 8 months, tens of millions of people were killed or injured. Assassinations and attacks were being carried out every day. However, the top-level battles did not erupt because, according to the estimates of the other forces in the vast region, the Dragon and Phoenix Empire might have 3 insightful, void Tier 9 experts. In a 3-on-3 situation, no one had a chance of winning. Even the Supreme Sect Master and the Southern Imperial family's patriarch did not dare to act rashly. Reporting to the Phoenix Emperor, our medicinal pill shop and forging workshop have already been established in 200 cities. We can officially open for business on the same day. 8 months later, the terrifying battle had already come to a stalemate. In the past half a month, no large-scale battle had broken out. An expert from the Dragon and Phoenix Empire came to the Imperial Palace and reported to Feng Yuan. Okay. Feng Yuan nodded and took the interspatial ring he handed over. Inside were all the profits from the medicine shop and the forging workshop. After 8 months of intense battle, the Dragon and Phoenix Empire was able to reach a complete stalemate with the 2 super forces. Apart from the Dragon Palace, these resources accounted for a large portion. Chapter 1620. 2016-20 was the most ruthless emperor's family. There should be a period of peace in the future. We're not in a hurry. We'll continue to fight with them after Shaoxian resurrects. Lan Qingyue, Guan Shuqing, and the other girls were also sitting in the imperial study. They had a faint smile on their faces. During the 8-month war, most of the losses of the Dragon and Phoenix dynasty were on the Dragon Palace's side. Most of the people who died and participated in the war were members of the Dragon Palace. However, the Dragon Palace didn't suffer heavy losses during the 8 months. Instead, their strength continued to increase. It was also because of this that the Dragon Phoenix Empire was able to contend against the 2 super forces, first-rate forces and many second-rate forces. It was also because of the Dragon Palace that the He clan and He Sui clan were willing to join the Dragon Phoenix Empire's camp. This was because the Dragon Phoenix Empire had guaranteed that they wouldn't be allowed to charge at the front lines. Unlike the Southern royal family's solipsistic sect, the forces that were coerced into joining them had to be the first to charge at the front line when they fought. We can waste time with them. Right now, we have indirectly affected more than 1,800 cities. The daily income from the elixir stores and the forging workshop can create more than 10 insightful void-level experts. In half a year, the Southern royal family and the solipsistic sect will be completely exhausted to death by us. Prime Minister Gui said with a smile. After 8 months of fighting, even if the Dragon Palace was at the forefront, and even if 3,000 or 4,000 members of the Dragon Palace died, the biggest winner would still be the Dragon Palace. The corpses of the enemies and the resources in the interspatial rings of the enemies were enough to raise the strength of the Dragon Palace by 1 level. In addition, the dead members of the Dragon Palace could be resurrected in the Dragon Palace, although it consumed a lot of resources. However, these resources could be made up with the profits of the forging workshop. As a result, after an 8-month war, the Dragon Palace had about 15,000 insightful emptiness realm experts, which was originally more than 7,000. Among them, the strength of the leaders was comparable to an 8th level insightful emptiness realm expert. After all, this war affected 70% of the forces in the vast region. This was because more than a dozen second-rate forces and 2 first-rate forces had been destroyed in this war. A lot of resources were sent to the Dragon Palace. In the Divine Kingdom Forest, the Demon War Department, Ao Chitian, and the others did not participate in this war. They had been wreaking havoc in the Divine Kingdom Forest. The number of corpses they obtained from the fierce beasts reached 20,000 to 30,000 in 8 months. All of them were void interpretation level fierce beasts. The war would only make the Dragon Palace stronger and stronger. As for the Dragon and Phoenix Empire, after obtaining a lot of resources, their strength was also increasing rapidly every day. Compared to the Dragon and Phoenix Empire and the Dragon Palace, the solipsistic sect and the Southern royal family were undoubtedly much more miserable. After 8 months of war, 6,000 to 7,000 profound void realm experts had fallen. Each of their forces had lost at least half of their profound void realm experts. After 8 months of war, the entire vast area was filled with killing intent. In the following time, the Dragon Phoenix Empire will completely take control of the cities below. Feng Wan said with a smile. Because of this war, all the forces were divided into 3 camps. The Wuji Empire was neutral, and they were in opposition to the southern royal family of the solipsistic sect. They were completely 3-sided. In the next few days, the Dragon and Phoenix Empire could properly absorb more than 1,800 cities. Once they absorbed all of them, the power of the Dragon and Phoenix Empire would reach a terrifying level. It would have endless potential in the future. Sister Feng Wan, the resources in your hands should be enough for you to increase a level, right? Lan Qingyue asked with a smile. It's enough. I'll return to the Dragon Palace in the next few days. Feng Wan nodded with a smile. Then once Sister Feng Wan's strength breaks through again, won't you be equivalent to a half-step Wanshou expert? Guan Shuqing asked with some surprise. If I transform into a fire phoenix, I can fight against a half-step longevity realm expert. But I can't fight with a fire phoenix body. Feng Wan said faintly. The former empress of the Phoenix dynasty was famous throughout the entire extraordinary continent. Even in the flowing sea region, there was a legend of the empress. Once she transformed into a fire phoenix, it would arouse suspicion. Once the Phoenix dynasty knew that she was still alive, they would immediately dispatch longevity realm experts to kill her. Therefore, she absolutely could not transform into a fire phoenix to fight. Then, when will Sister Feng Wan be able to show her true face to others? Guan Shuqing looked at Feng Wan, who was wearing a veil, and said, Very soon. When I reach the longevity realm, we will announce that the Dragon Phoenix Empire will be promoted to an empire. Feng Wan touched the veil on her face, and her eyes flickered with a cold luster. Reporting to the Empress, an unfamiliar expert has arrived outside and is here to pay his respects to you. At this moment, the voice of a guard came from outside. King. When the guard's voice ended, an old man's voice came over. Let him in. Feng Wan immediately said when she heard the voice. Yes. An old man walked in. The old man's entire body was covered in a fiery red robe. He walked into the imperial study and took off his hat. "Greetings, king." The old man directly knelt down and said, "Get up, little flame. If there's anything you need, come over directly." Feng Wan waved her hand at him and asked, "King, there's a piece of news. Ancestor Yin asked me to consult you." The old man bowed and said, "What is it?" Feng Wan slightly frowned, and a trace of solemnity appeared on her face. "According to the news we received, the Holy Item Forging Workshop and the Life and Death Pill Workshop are going to send experts over to prepare to destroy Your Majesty's dynasty." The old man also said solemnly, "The Cloud Ancestor asked you if you need the Fire Cloud Sparrow clan to start a war with the two major forces." "What?" In the surroundings, Guan Shuqing and the other girls heard the old man's words, and their expressions changed greatly. They let out a cry of fear. "Can't hold them back anymore." Feng Wan asked with a frown, "After all the forces start a war, we can pin down the two major forces." The old man said in a deep voice, "Then let's start a war. Don't fight to the death. Pin them down. Tell little Yin that in a year's time, at most a year, when the time comes, I will have no fear of the Life and Death Pill Workshop and the Holy Item Forging Workshop. In 3 years, we will destroy the two forces." Feng Wan slowly stood up, and a powerful aura was emitted. The old man was slightly startled. He felt the aura on Feng Wan's body, and his face was filled with determination. "Yes, my king. With our Fire Cloud Sparrow clan around, my king, you can rest assured and develop," the old man said resolutely. Feng Wan nodded. "Your Majesty, we are at war with the two great factions. Their experts have no time to come over, but you have to be careful. Be careful of their other ways of targeting us." The old man hesitated for a moment before reminding her. "I know." Feng Wan's face was deep in thought. "I will make preparations." "Yes, then little Flame will take his leave." The old man bowed and immediately left. The Life and Death Pill Workshop and the Holy Item Forging Workshop have always been a huge trouble. After the elder of the Fire Lark clan left, Feng Wan frowned and murmured,